So
unless
where
it's calling show.
so where are we now? Where are you? You're at your house,
Where
aren't
am
you?
I now? I am
Yeah.
in my woodsy compound in the woods on the scenic and beautiful Cape Ann Peninsula in Massachusetts, not too far from the East Coast. I guess to my over my shoulder, you can see the beginning of my 18-hole mini putt-putt golf course in the woods called Verm Largo. It is probably the finest mini deep woods mini putt-putt golf course in the entire East Coast, perhaps even east of the Mississippi. And it's a lot of fun. It's if you like mini putt-putt golf and you like whacking golf balls through trees and up chutes and down ladders and all those things. Yes, it's a hobby of mine, and of course, a lot of high-powered political lobbying goes on there naturally.
It sounds absolutely amazing. So Vermin,
Yes,
let's pretend.
Miko, how the hell are you guys?
I'm
Woohoo!
good, Vermin.
What's
I'm
happened?
good. It's good to see you. It's been a
Well, it's
little
nice
while.
to see you too. I don't think we've ever done anything in this type of format. I mean, look at us,
No.
holy moly!
Well, we did a live interview in DC outside that
Well,
bar.
yeah, we did, but
It
it
was
looked nothing like this. This looks like
no,
well,
no.
it looks like you're in the future and I'm
I've
out in nature or something. So
it's like a clash of the two. um,
yeah, it's quite a contrast. Yeah, you're in the
what
underground bunker, and I'm in the surface world.
and it is.
How are things down in the bunker?
I've been making this like little Bat cave area. It's coming along.
Yeah,
I'm really
I have to come
jealous.
up to the surface every so while just to take the radiation levels and such.
Right.
Make sure it's still uninhabitable.
Let's pretend like somebody has no fucking clue who you are. Who are you, Vermin? Would you like to try and sum that up?
Well, hey kids, it's me, Vermin Supreme, the guy from the internet who runs for president with the boot on his head. Ha 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 ha! Ponies, ponies, ponies. Anyway,
I think that's a pretty safe summary.
um, yes, of course, Vermin Supreme, the friendly fascist, a tyrant that you can trust, and you should let me run your life because I do know what is best for you. Yes, all politicians are vermin, and I am the Vermin Supreme, and that is why I'm the qualified candidate in this race at this time. Yes, I will promise you anything your little heart desires because you are my constituents, because you are the informed voting public, and because I have no intention of keeping any promise that I make. So this election year, vote early, vote often, and remember, a vote for me, Vermin Supreme, is a vote completely thrown away. So that's a shtick and a bit that I've been doing for close to 30 years, maybe more than 30 years now. And I am a highly respected political satirist, beloved by millions around the world. And yeah, so I guess that's it ultimately.
But
I think you could sum it up by saying that I'm an individual who has discovered a unique combination of elements that has allowed me to amplify my free speech voice exponentially and communicate with millions of people and interface with media from across the flat earth. And yes, and so I've been using my powers for the forces of good to the best of my ability. I guess some people, yeah, I guess I fall under prankster, under Wikipedia labels me as a performance artist, which I don't really embrace, but it gives something some people enough context and reference to understand the various levels that I'm attempting to operate on. I guess most recently I sort of pivoted in the past year or so because this imaginary, this pretend, this facetious, satirical campaign of mine had gained so much traction in the popular culture and stuff like that, built such an audience and international recognition, if you will, that I had attained a level of notoriety that it was that I was able to make a legitimate offer of my services as a candidate to the Libertarian Party,
I
to
was,
be their
you,
presidential nominee.
you know, that's actually something I wanted to ask about and talk about actually, because you did do a legit run this time.
Indeed, indeed, this was a very, very, very different year. In all previous campaigns, past 30 years, since 1992, I've been going up to the New Hampshire primary, claiming that I was running for president, interacting with the other candidates who were on the ballot. I eventually started getting on the ballot up in New Hampshire myself. I came in third in 2012. I came in fourth in 2016 on the Democratic ballot. And so I've become quite a fixture in that arena. And once again, of course, because it's a very small niche, running for president.
Right.
And of
That's
course, it's
fair
an
enough.
amazing and beautiful thing running for president because it is a self-declarative statement. Once you make the statement that my name is and I'm running for president, it becomes a fact, an indisputable fact. Nobody can disprove it. You might not get votes, you might not get campaign contributions, you might not file with the FEC, but the fact remains: if you said you were and are like at least asking a couple of people to vote for you, then you are running for president. You're a fringe candidate. So it's this loophole that I found, and also the Libertarian Party. Anybody can pretty much run under the Libertarian banner. They can say they're a Libertarian running for anything. Now, whether they're a member of their local Libertarian affiliate or really self identify as Libertarian or have Libertarian ideas, it doesn't really matter. There's no mechanism within the Libertarian Party to prevent anyone from claiming to be a Libertarian candidate for anything, near as I can tell. So that's another funny little loophole that I ultimately used, but that was purely inadvertent. And once again, the very interesting thing about this last year's election run, where I was seeking the Libertarian Party nomination, I was recruited because for me, it's just as easy not to run a real campaign. In any
Right.
previous election, I would go up to the New Hampshire primary, spend a week, maybe two, then I would be free until the conventions. So I would go to our convention, the Democrat convention, and then maybe I would go to the inauguration. So ultimately, in any given election year, every 4 years, I would invest approximately a month of my time, and that was enough. And then I would have the off election years off. But simply by doing that, and with my whole presentation, promising the free ponies and the zombie power and the time travel and the mandatory toothbrushing laws, I found these things that had such a wonderful and amazing and such whimsical resonance with people across the country and across the globe, that once again I reached this level of notoriety that people in the Libertarian Party, primarily it was my campaign manager from Texas, Desiree Lindsay, who reached out to me and asked me if I was actually interested in running a quote serious campaign. And I had to, talk about that with my wife and consider all the possibilities, what that would actually entail.
Was it
And
was
I
it
decided,
like right from the get go? Was it like let me think about it, or was it like fuck off and then let me think about it?
no, 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 because I had played with the Libertarians in the 2016 cycle. People had reached out to me. Boomer Shannon in California wanted me to headline this fundraiser thing that he was doing, and so I was out there doing another Hollywood thing, and we made that happen. And then uh, the head of the youth caucus brought me to the International Students for Liberty conference, and so I went to that, and they just gave me total carte blanche leeway to do whatever I wanted to. The bit was I was going to interrupt their president who was making his opening remarks. He was in on it, of course, but I went in there and did this scorching rendition of the Star Spangled Banner on my bullhorn and gave him a lesson on ponynomics. And then as I finished up, I threw a bunch of glitter on them and told them Peter Kropotkin told me to turn them into a bunch of social anarchists, which was sort of a play on, turning Randall Terry gay. And so I was, starting, and of course, the years up in New Hampshire, the Free State movement The Free State Project is a very big thing up there. A lot of libertarians were moving there in order to try and change the electoral balance and things like that. So my travels up there. In 2012, Occupy, the primary was sort of the last big gasp of the of the Occupy movement, perhaps.
Right.
And the interesting thing about New Hampshire is, in addition to being the smallest state in the one of the smaller states, in addition to it being the first in the nation primary, which attracts every last candidate who has their own campaign headquarters, they have their own campaign buses, their own campaign staff, they have events all over the damn place, and so it's very easy to screw with them all. And because it is so has such outsized importance, the media is there from around the world. And so, if you're clever and you got a good message, you can sort of hijack that shit. And so, I've always said, you give me 50 black blockers, we'll shut that shit down. We were out there with the Occupy banner, but over there it was the Free State Project, a bunch of libertarians, and we would show up at the same campaign events of the same candidates and protesting them and haranguing them, albeit from sort of different angles. And the beautiful thing about New Hampshire also is it's such a small enough state that all the activists know each other, and they've been working with each other on various projects. And the fact that they might be perceived to be on the opposite side of the aisle and have disagreements, that they're okay with that because they're sort of friends and they know each other. So there's not this real vicious acrimony between these different factions
Right.
of people trying to call out the politicians. And so at any given political stop, it would be like, oh, there's the occupiers yelling at Santorum for this, and there's the Free State yelling for that. And then at any moment, it could morph into an all Vermin Supreme love rally. And
You
so
do have
that was,
a way of doing that. I've watched you work your
yes,
magic in
I'm a
some
little bit of
pretty
a
intense
uniter.
situations.
A little bit of a, not a divider. And I think a lot of that had to do with that first initial viral moment when I dumped the glitter on Randall Terry and introduced the ponies and zombies and toothbrushing to America. And because it was perceived as a nonpartisan attack on the system, it wasn't going after any politician or party. It was more broader and meta analysis that it was really embraced by people from across the political spectrum. So I have a fan base that runs from hard right to hard left, places I don't even want people to be my fans, but they are. I can't help
Right.
that. I think that's just the nature of any sort of celebrity or subculture, that you're going to get a very diverse group of people, even from extremes, and it usually doesn't matter. I mean, and it's usually not noticeable until it becomes a serious issue. I mean, you look at Taylor Swift fans as a general example. All of a sudden, she was embraced by the alt right because they thought she was on her side, and then she sort of told them to fuck off, and then they didn't like her so much. And even the furries, for example, they have a fasci problem. In my
Right.
fandom,
Yeah, actually,
likewise.
furries have a big fascist problem. Actually,
Yes, and like, well, I mean, fascists are tend to, in addition to probably having a genuine affinity with a given subculture, um, they also have a tendency to want to like swarm things and sort of take it over and spoil it as a cultural attack, I guess. Um,
you
and
did.
I've had,
You came in third, didn't you?
oh, well, okay, I'll continue on yeah, the libertarian.
I
So
mean, you
Desert asked me, I said,
you
yes,
fucking you
I
damn
did
near.
very, yes,
You
because
did fucking excellent, man.
in a
I'm proud
in
of
a
you.
1 year period, I went from guy with the boot on his head who was just a non-starter for many, many people. I mean, I spent this whole year because the people working on my campaign were people who represented the party from the right and the left of the Libertarian Party spectrum. Of course, Libertarian Party, not a monolithic right-leaning entity. It's not. I didn't know that.
Right.
I mean, it took me a long, long time to even get to the point where I could work, till I understood that, my origins as a left anarchist leaning person um, dovetailed very nicely with the Libertarian Party. There's just a lot of things that were very consistent from an anarchist perspective, especially trying to abolish the state. And the Libertarian Party itself is a party comprised of anarchists and minarchists attempting an orderly dissolution of the government and the state. There was enough that I eventually started feeling comfortable with working and meeting enough people that broke the stereotypes and were not anything at all like I had previously assumed libertarians to be. Of course, for example, for many years, mutual aid, very, very important to me. And I was very afraid to, because charity, the idea of charity that the libertarians put forth as their main answer to dealing with societal ills, I thought that was very top down, very dismissive. And so I felt mutual aid is always a much better thing. Uh, but I was afraid to present it because I was afraid it might get co-opted. They might take it and co-opt it. But in the course of a year, as an actual candidate, it was a cornerstone of my campaign where I was really, hitting home the importance of mutual aid, the importance of voluntarism, the importance of charity, and the importance of love and compassion. I mean, I was harder on that shit than fucking Marianne Williamson, and I wasn't talking about orbs and shit. I believe that my candidacy really brought a lot to the party, and a lot of my supporters and followers and campaign staff very much believed that out of the crop of candidates, I was quite likely the most likely to get 5%. That I would very likely bring in lots and lots of young people into the party.
Right.
That I
That
would
is a
reach
good
a lot
argument.
of people and perhaps even create a movement. I mean, we had incredible momentum going into that convention, and a lot, if not most of it, was from outside the party. Inside the party, there's a lot of literalists who could not get past the meme, who could not get past the boot, who did not want their party to be a joke or be considered a joke. And so I had to spend the better part of a year convincing them that our claims were not unconceivable. And once they
Right.
agreed with, well, okay, that's not inconceivable, then they were halfway there. But the other important part was convincing them that I was not out to troll their party. I was out to offer my services to help them and me to together troll the duopoly in a very hard way and troll America. We had created this whole argument, hashtag in on the joke. And I kept having to hitting home that the party has to get in front of it. They have to own the joke. It's the only way that it was really going to work is if the party said, "No, this is our joke. We're putting up the joke. The joke's on you." No, we know he's a joke. Dur,
Right.
and just really push it hard. And it was definitely a very bold and unique and ultimately unpalatable concept, but ultimately for over a fifth of the delegates and the people and the supporters working my campaign, it was a very feasible and a very realistic and desirable means and method to push and propel the party forward. And so I was more than happy to allow myself to be utilized in this fashion.
Did
And
you
of course, ultimately,
did,
no,
did you did you have that like that moment of holy shit, I might actually end up being one of the presidential nominations with a backing party?
well, ultimately, yes. I mean, I understood going in that this was truly the best chance or closest opportunity that I will ever have to getting on a 50 state ballot. So that there was that motivation. And of course, there was the very and once again, I see what's happening with Joe Jorgensen, and essentially, I was running on the LP platform also, and she ended up like getting a lot of slack and attack from the left, of course, because
Yeah,
I
she's
mean,
been
you're
having a rough
presenting.
one. She's definitely been having a rough
Oh,
one.
and she's been being attacked by the right too, and
Mm.
yeah, she has not had it easy.
No,
And
no.
of course, I have such vast reservoirs of political capital and goodwill. I was happy to spend them on this year of campaigning for the Libertarian ticket, and I believe that I would have come out okay at the whole end of it. I mean, I believe that if I was indeed the nominee, I think we would have achieved our modest goals that we put forward. And yes, there was a point after Goulash Films and Daniel Small started putting out those commercials. I don't know if you saw the "You Are the Power" advertisements that started going out.
I
I
didn't.
mean, oh geez,
I
check them out. One is called "You Are the Power." The other is "Now Is the Time," and the other is "We Have Already Won." And they were so powerful, and I mean, within inside of a week, they had over 250,000 views on Twitter, and uh, and they were super amazing, inspirational. They're like boom, boom, boom. You are the. I mean, it was. You got to check them out. You should definitely link to them.
No, I
They're
will.
on
I'll
the
remember them.
Vermin Supreme YouTube page, and you should definitely also check out the mini documentary called hashtag In on the Joke, which we
I did actually see
which
that.
they,
That I did
yeah, I
watch.
mean, I think so it was an uphill battle and struggle because every um state convention I went to. I mean, I changed hearts and minds. We changed hearts and minds. And once people had an opportunity to experience me, like the real me, without the boot, not in character, not disrupting, and not and being reasonable, people really had to reassess what they thought of what I was doing. I met some of my hardest critics, terrible trolls and detractors who had engaged in character assassination. But then when I met them in person and we met and they saw me on the debate, they understood what I was doing, and several apologized and made nice with me, and several came over to join my team. We were attracting talent from the Yang campaign after that folded, and we were attracting talent from the Bernie bros and all that, and it just had a real wide appeal. And it was just a crazy year. I mean, would I have normally have gone to all those conventions? Definitely not. That would not have been my anything of interest to me. Taking part in over a dozen debates with like all these different libertarian candidates, and trying to uh, appear to be or be an actual real candidate during a debate, and giving the most libertarian possible answers in a serious fashion. It was like a whole new character, serious Vermin. Luckily, I was able to, retain a lot of my humor and ability to quip. I mean, finding the proper balance between, being funny and serious it took quite a while. But I thought a lot of the debates I would come up the question, and of course, you have 7 or 12 different candidates giving this libertarian answer to the same darn question, and I use that to my advantage. And so, of course, since felt I didn't have to repeat all those answers that had just been given, I would either start with a quip and pivot to an answer, or if the question was answered in the platform itself, I read specifically verbatim from the platform itself, because well, if that's the question, here's the answer, it's right here. And that because I felt if you were uh, running for a nomination of a party, that you should represent that party, and I felt that was best encapsulated in that party's platform. And so that was specifically what I was presenting and steering people towards. I've never shilled for a political party before, but boy, was I shilling hard for the LP. And at some point during the time, the debates, they started instituting novelty headwear restrictions. Um, Specifically targeted at myself, of course, and Dan Taxation is Theft Berman, another candidate who relied on the gimmick of a big, giant yellow Mad Hatter hat that said Taxation is Theft on it. And, I don't believe the irony was lost on the state committees that put these forth. The party of self expression and what have you, and telling you can't wear it. And the first time they were pulling that, I was all like, "What? No, no boot. I don't think so. Screw that. Fuck you." But then after a few months, I said, "Fuck it. I don't need the boot to make my point." And um, so I
Well,
was really
that's the thing that I've
I
always,
was
because
really trying to make a sale.
you told me
I was
once
really
that
trying to make a sale.
you told me once that the boot was like your soapbox, basically your way of amplifying your voice.
Oh yes,
And
I mean
so,
it's a magic boot.
well, and at this
It's
point,
magical.
it is like you. I feel like you have established yourself enough to where you can take the boot off at this point. Enough people know the name and everything.
Yeah, and I did. I mean, but once again, what I was doing was it was very specific. I was trying to convince enough delegates to let me be their nominee. And if I was the nominee, then I was, I believe that they were giving me their vote of confidence that I could wear the boot, that I could be batshit crazy, that I did not have to be serious, that I could use my judgment uh, as I would in any given situation. I believe I would represent the party, but I also believe it would be extremely exciting, and I would be goofy as all get out. And I don't think there's anything wrong or counterproductive about that. But I mean, if the people, yes, maybe we'd be turning off a certain segment of people, but I think we'd be attracting a whole other segment of people. I mean, much like you will with any approach.
So is this like
Joe's approach
is
turns on some
this
people and turns off others.
is this going to be an ongoing thing? Is this something that we're going to see 4 years from now?
Well, once again, it's possible. I mean, of course, obviously, I mean, running for president is super fun, super easy. It's become a little bit of a hobby of mine, and I certainly do believe that I do it for constituents. I have constituents, and when I'm doing, it's stuff in the streets, especially keeping people safe at protests or haranguing the other candidates or jawboning the media or whatever. I'm doing it because I know in addition to me enjoying it because it's so much fun and wacky, I know many other people are people who aren't inclined to or can't or don't want to or whatever for whatever reason they're not doing it. But the fact that I am and that they are enjoying it and support me and ultimately watch my back, I believe, especially in real life intense situations. Um, that's one of the main. It's one of the reasons I do it because if I had stopped doing what I have been doing for so long, it would have been like, oh yeah, that Vermin Supreme guy. He's that guy that did that stuff back in the day. But I continue doing that stuff and hope to continue doing that stuff into the future. The stuff that people really like to see
So
and take part of.
we're not looking at a retirement of Vermin Supreme anytime soon.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
But you know,
I don't
one
see, and of course, I'm positioned very well for a 24 run in the LP. I mean, I've got a base there. I've got supporters, and there's just a lot of factors. I mean, it was a big pain in my ass. I mean, it was a fair amount of work for 2 or 3 months. Every weekend, I was gone. All right, see you later, honey. I'm going to some city to debate and stuff, and um, I don't know. It was what it was, but the potential for the payoff was so great that it was ultimately a worthwhile investment, and it was just such a natural extension of what I had been doing. Why not try something a little different that's very similar, that's totally based on what I had been doing?
well, and
It was just
there's two things I'd like to know what you think because I mean, you said earlier this is 30 years that you've been doing this. You've seen a lot of shit. You've seen 30 years worth of political shit. Is a third party going to have a chance? Do you think it's finally starting to come to that point?
seems unlikely. Seems unlikely. Um,
Not
I
gonna
mean,
bullshit
anything
you.
could happen. But it just I don't see it the LP or the Greens doing much better than they did in 2016, for example, and that was a high watermark in a lot of ways for uh, both parties in terms of national vote capture. I could see that they could do that. It's not once again, it's not inconceivable that we could get that 5% or that. And of course, another one of the exciting success stories was my choice of my vice presidential choice, Spike Cohen, who comes from sort of the ANCAP side of the aisle,
Right.
and started out playing along with the free cheesy bread with every demolition permit from the ATF, and he had a lot of funny things going on himself. He is serving as the real VP candidate for the LP. He is Joe Jorgensen's running mate. So that was pretty snazzy and successful. That an individual that joined Team Supreme in order to help me get the nomination was well liked, respected, and considered a good communicator enough to become the VP candidate as chosen by the delegates.
Because
I think we did quite a bit of helping a culture shift to occur within the party, and that I'd like to see continue.
you didn't even entertain the idea of John McAfee, did you?
Um, when I first started looking into my campaign, he was indeed. I approached him through back channels. I offered him the opportunity to be my VP. At that time, he was still running for president, and by the time that he approached me and said that he wanted to be my VP, I had already chosen Spike
You've done
Cohen.
Spike. I
Um,
gotcha.
and but not before. I think he might have offered me his VP too. But yeah, so anything could happen. It was a pretty crazy year. I'm not used to taking um, such political hits and hate and character assassination. Usually I'm a little bit. I always like to think of myself as beloved, but I was really getting a lot of crap from a lot of people who despise me. That was
Right.
sort of new.
I I can believe that. I can definitely believe
I mean,
that.
that's a crazy thing. I mean, because it seems like a lot of people, they get a shit ton of death threats and shit ton of hate, and I had always been a little bit immune. My people who attacked me were pretty mild. I've made it a little different, I guess. And I've always been anti-fascist and always attacked obnoxious, terrible opinions whenever they've come across my feed or whatever. You know, but whatever. What can I tell you?
Which and that kind of leads into my other question is you've been doing this again for 30 years. So like now, like even what you just said with the you actually do like a legit campaign and you see all this hate and shit, like everything going on. Have you ever seen shit like this much division, this much just anger in all the years that you've
No,
been?
I don't believe. No, I can't say I've seen such incredible fucking opposing forces. So happy and willing to mix it up and try and one up one another. It's uh, it's really wild times. I must say that. I think it seems like sort of a natural progression in the decay of our culture and society. Um, so perhaps it's not that surprising, and perhaps some of the more intense things that I that did go on were a little bit before my time. Perhaps the civil rights movement, of course.
Right.
I mean, there was an insane, intense division between people of the pro and con, and during the Vietnam War protests, which was before my time, but they got very intense, and the Chicago riots and the youth movement riots and all that were very intense. Things sort of calmed down somewhat in 80s, 90s. I mean, sure, you had your various movements, but it didn't seem like there was massive opposition movements to those movements. The anti-nuclear movement. I mean, yeah, sure, we'd be there marching and protesting against cops, and always get your rednecks or conservatives or whatever, or people who were, a little extreme, or your clanners or whatever. Um, but it seems that the seems that Donald Trump did an amazing job out of whipping people up into a crazed frenzy, and of course, that didn't help to have such national leadership really using division as a tactic for maintaining political power. I don't think that's like
Did you
anything we've ever seen or experienced.
did you see when he tweeted out the protesters that vandalized, I forget what statue, but he was tweeting out pictures of wanted people related to destruction of the
Yes,
statue.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that. Incredibly, wildly inappropriate and unprofessional. Extremely unprofessional. You know, I mean, if I like to have my occupying forces and occupiers and administrators of the occupying army. I like them to be professional. It's what I like to see on the streets, and of course, all the recent extreme police behavior, extremely unprofessional. Um, you know, I mean, when I'm on the streets talking to the cops with a bullhorn, trying to lay down the rules of engagement and reiterate various fine points of crowd control and you know, minimal use of force to achieve one's objective. I mean, it's pretty much a theoretically a basic tenet of such operations, but it's gotten so excessive and ridiculous that these are very, very, very scary times. Absolutely. I mean, federal forces being deployed like that, and uh, it's rather unbelievable.
That is so.
If I was in charge, things would be a lot different. The secret dental police would only be concerned about your teeth and nothing else.
So that the Portland, you have been keeping up somewhat with the Portland shit.
Oh, absolutely. No, I've been catching everything on the Twitter feed, man. There is so much civil unrest in America, and maybe it's about time. I mean, you know, civil disorder. Maybe the chickens are coming home to roost, as in previous decades. And unfortunately, it seems in the lull time between the last massive upheavals, the government has done everything in their power to become increasingly belligerent, armored up, and trained up to inflict maximum damage. And it's pretty fucked up, you know. I
Is
mean,
that
back in the
even?
day, all they had was sticks, and now they got all sorts of stuff.
Oh, that you know, I didn't even think about that. So you've like watched the progression over the years too, then like of the militarization and these response to protests and shit over the years. You've watched it go from sticks to tear gas to pepper balls to all this other new shit that they got now.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah. From being chill and just sort of software to the whole riot gear to the um, yeah. No, it's been a frightening and subtle, gradual change. I mean, hell, I mean, you know, I wrote the mandatory toothbrushing law, you know, referencing the secret dental police and the dental reeducation centers and the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities and all of those things years before they even wrote the Patriot Act. And no, we're we continue down a very frightening path. And of course, oh, the race is on. You know, is it going to be? I mean, for many years it was just like, the collapse of the ecosystems. Oh, yes, yes, another massive oil spill. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, the environment. Oh, yes, severe weather. Oh, yes, the tundra melting, the methane. Yes. Oh, yes, the clampdown. Oh, the government. Yes, the government preparing for civil war. Yes, yes, yes. I wonder which is going to win first. And of course, they're you know, the one planning for the reaction of the people to the other, and then all of a sudden they throw you some crazy curveball like COVID-19.
Yeah, that's
Whoa! I was not expecting that. Ah!
yeah, that's definitely Jesus. That's definitely been a 2020 is an interesting fucking year.
Yeah, I mean, I believe COVID-19 is real, but I believe that I mean, a lot of everything involved about it, you know, it couldn't have been planned better. I mean, you know, the whole, you know, dehumanizing people through and making them afraid of one another, and you know, not being able to touch people, and I mean, it's just sort of like another little crappy thing to help us prevent from bonding and being with one another. I mean, that is that in and of itself is terrible. Stay home, creating more isolation and making more people paranoid, and then of course the incredible disinformation campaigns that are
Oh,
flying. Damn
it,
that Al Gore and his internet invention. That
man,
seemed like a good
I'm
idea,
telling
but
you.
really,
Well, and it,
and
God, yeah, the disinformation right now,
hate
ever
to be a
since COVID
killjoy, but
started.
I get a feeling that's what this show is going to be. Big buzzkill. Ha!
What what
Hey, let's talk about some good things, though.
some good things. What do you got on the
Hey,
good things?
hey. Well, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you about Vermin Supreme Institute, or
Oh
the
yes,
Vermin
please
Supreme
do.
Institute.
Actually,
But
please do.
the, of course, is implied. The is not really part of the Vermin Supreme Institute, nor is the of something something or for whatever. It's just the three words Vermin Supreme Institute. Everything else is purely implied. And what we did was we took my name and added the word institute to it.
I
So
like where you're
um,
going.
that's what we did, and that makes it sound like a million times more legitimate than Vermin Supreme itself. It is indeed. We are an educational institute, I believe. I wish I had the mission statement at my fingertips, but I do not. I should Google it up while I'm here. VerminSupremeInstitute.com. We had our launch party just the other day, and it was very successful. And we are planning on making different initiatives because it took us a while to decide whether we were going to be the Vermin Supreme Institute or the Vermin Supreme Initiative. I liked initiative because it seemed like it was more of an action word and stuff.
I
Um,
can see your argument there.
but we decided that if we were the an institute, we could umbrella, we could institute initiatives. You see, so as an institute, we initiated instituting initiatives because institutes institute things, and we thought we would institute initiatives. And we are a 503c4, which is different from a 503c1, which is a nonprofit. A nonprofit is a transparent organization, and if you donate it to it, um, you can tax deductible it, whereas we are a not-for-profit organization. Essentially, it just gives us a designation that allows us to have a bank account that does not get taxed. So we can raise money, and of course, with a 503c4, it is we don't have to report our donors, and it can be unlimited donations, which is different from my presidential campaign fund, which max, you could only give like $2,800 max. And we can put 50% of our resources towards political things, particularly like campaign political things. It's used by a lot of sketchy operations that are involved in politics. Because 50% can go towards things political, the other
Right.
50% could be administrative or philanthropic. But we just felt that that as a vehicle it seemed to serve our needs. It allows us to be philanthropic. We can raise money to give away, or we can spend it on political campaigns. At first and primarily, we're trying to be educational in nature. We want to, I really want to be able to fulfill our mission. I didn't want to make or initially when we were talking about what our mission statement would be, a lot of people will say, well, we will, give resources to the homeless and stuff. I say, well, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't know what kind of resources we'll have to make happen. But so,
Right.
and things like that could become an initiative that would make that happen. So I found our mission statement, and it is as follows. Our purpose is to inspire social evolution through the disruption of authoritarianism, to promote compassionate activism, and to spread knowledge of redacted history through the use of humor, direct action, and mutual aid, we uplift the disaffected, disenfranchised, no, I mean disenfranchised, and disempowered. So that is our mission statement, and so far we are working on putting together, history. We have a small team, a team right now of from the education division is working on women in politics history document. Our friend Chris, who's on it, is working on a beautiful people initiative where we recognize different activists doing really nice things. We are migrating our Disrupt the Vote initiative, which was part of my election year campaign. We were putting together resources to help anti-duopoly candidates. So we're folding that into it. So, we're taking some things that are easy enough to get us started on. We're taking other things that are a little bit off the shelf and sort of folding them into the Institute. And ultimately, we'll be having our ears to the ground. We'll be in. It's like a suggestion box. I mean, if people have a different project that they're trying to make happen or whatever, and we could help somehow cooperatively, mutual aid wise, help it into being, then we are all about that type of thing. So it has a lot of potential, I think, and it seems once again it's a spin-off of the Team Supreme campaign election team, because we developed. I mean, at one point we had like over 100 volunteers working on the campaign, and just so many of these people made great friendships. They felt a family type of experience working on these type of issues. And of course, when I was not successful in getting the nomination, many of these people wanted to continue working in this vein of education, information, entertainment fusions, and this is what we all came up with. And so it's an amazing next level. I mean, this last year's campaign was next level shit. I sort of feel like through me doing what I'm doing, or did, I brought it to a certain level, and I think I brought it as far as I possibly could, and it has really taken this team to really push it up a few more levels. And this Vermin Supreme Institute has the possibility to be a whole different thing.
So you
People,
basically you basically figured out a tool that they've been using forever to get their different shit across, and now you're going to weaponize it.
I guess, in a nice way. I guess a nice weapon,
in a nicer way.
a, a pony gun. It shoots ponies and stuff.
Shoots ponies instead of hatred and, and
Yeah.
face
Pony
punches.
drones. Oh, they'll still torch a wedding party. Don't you worry about that. They're going to be fire breathing, but they will be pony drones. Don't worry. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just very, I feel totally blessed and very lucky to have been able to build something out of ideas and ridiculous pretend things that had such resonance and that so many people liked and so many people enjoyed, that it became feasible to do. I mean, it seems to inspire people. I mean, it's like, I guess I'm an inspirational figure. I guess, I don't know, but people seem to be motivated and inspired by anti-authoritarian, not giving a fuck attitudes and delivery methods, and they really believe that it is a legitimate and effective way to communicate. And so, yeah, people are on board, and
I think
it's
part of it though is that you're easy to approach, and then if somebody takes the time to actually talk with you, it does turn out like, holy shit, this guy's not just wearing a boot on his head. This guy fucking. I mean, for fuck's sake, you've been involved in politics for 30 years now. Of course, you've learned some shit over the years.
oh yeah, no,
It,
it's always been a joke, but it's been a very serious joke, and it's been a means to an end. And um, my my friend Jerry, an attorney out of Chicago, he sort of pegged it that he talks a lot about he'll give a workshop on disarming the police, and people come all expecting to learn how to literally disarm the police. But no, it is more about how to disarm the police. Make them not feel threatened and things like that. And he used that sort of term to describe what I do in terms of disarming the police. Sort of like, you don't need your weapons. You don't need to fucking do that.
Right.
Uh,
But we're pretty. I think we're. I don't know. I definitely agree with that and see where you're going with that. I just don't know if the rest of the country is going to agree at this point. So what do you think? Where do we go from here? What happens from here? What's Vermin's prediction on November?
got no predictions. I'm not a pundit, bud. Not a pundit. Not a pontificator. That was sort of a funny thing about when I was being a candidate. They would ask me these questions, and I had to like answer them in a fashion that I believe that they should be answered to be within the line of orthodoxy, and as if though I was an authority on them, as if I exactly knew what I was talking about, when really I was sort of just talking out my ass, attempting to make it look like I was knew what I was talking about and pundicizing and pontificating. Whereas ultimately, I've always maintained that I'm just a guy who knows things, who has opinions, and we all have different opinions. And there's no reason to really, get upset about other people's opinions, or so invested in your own opinions, as if they're your favorite sports team and you're going to defend them till violence or some shit. I certainly hope we see a peaceful and orderly transition of power. Um, but at this point in a post-Trump America, it seems as if, though, almost all bets are off. It seems like it's a new playing field. It seems like they're just doing these various authoritarian dry runs. From the lockdowns and all that. And then once again, of course, I understand that the state has a great power, and even more so during times of pandemic. And I think some of it's reasonable. I'm against state power, yes, but let's be realistic in how to try and combat this COVID-19 thing. Now, once again, there's been great overreach. I think there's been a lot of bullshit. And I think it really tests our anarchist and libertarian post-state society utopian ideals, because all of our post-state utopian ideals are sort of predicated on people being responsible for themselves and their behavior and how it affects others, and the love and the compassion. But you look around and you say, holy shit, it is not like that. There are a lot of stupid, vile people out there. How are we going to make that work?
Well, like,
Of course, in my understanding of anarchy, and the thing that I've always loved about my anarchy is that it exists here today. We live it, we breathe it, we cooperate with others, we practice mutual aid, um, we do what we can, we come up with an idea, we come up with a project, and we cooperate to see it through. We have cooperative bookstores, we have cooperative food co-ops, we have all these anarchic organizations that function just fine without a state. Thank you very much. I've been attending the rainbow gatherings for 30 years. That's where I really got to experience an anarchistic organism and how a non-hierarchical, consensus-based society might function for a week or two in the woods, and deal with all our various security issues and justice issues and infrastructure issues. So I do have hope that we, as we always maintained, building the new society in the vacant lots of the old. So I do have a lot of hope, and I have a lot of frightening. I'm not nihilistic, but I look around and say, "Oh, we're doomed.
there's
We're totally doomed." I mean. I have such
There,
wonderful, warm feelings for all the people who are building towards the future and trying to make a better future and trying to fight the state on all the levels that it needs to be fought on and working for the future generations that we'll never see or fighting towards Ponatopia. I mean, Ponatopia, we may not see it in our lifetimes. Not all of us will make it. There will be sacrifices, human sacrifices. But let me hear this: the road to Ponatopia will be paved with the glitter encrusted skulls of our vanquished foes.
I damn well agree to that.
Yeah.
But
It's all right here in my book, I Pony.
oh, where does that? Where can somebody get them a copy of that?
Well, well, this is I Pony, Blueprint for a New America. It is a book about the future, a future long after a Vermin Supreme presidency, when everybody has their pony, when zombie power fuels the nation, and the secret dental police have set up checkpoints every couple hundred yards or so. It is a warning from the people of the future to you, the people of their past, your present, that Vermin Supreme is a madman and must be stopped. It's available at iPonybook.com. Is where you could get this. I think I
Is
included it
that
in this link.
was that in the description? I think that maybe that's in the description.
Yes, I believe so. And it's got a lot of amazing artwork. Let's see. There is a picture of there's a zombie. Whoa, hold on. As I try and get it in the camera. Okay, there's a zombie, and there's a pony drone. You can see it. Very cute little pony drone. And I'm working backwards here, of course, on the screen, so I apologize. Let's see, and I'll show you one more. The most titillating picture of them, because I think that will seal the deal.
Have you really put much design into the pony drone though? I mean, like, do we have the full? Oh, that's strong. That's
Powerful,
definitely
powerful,
strong. That's
powerful
powerful.
artwork.
It's powerful.
Yeah, powerful. So yeah, there. Once again, pony erotica is not the crux of the book, but it is the most titillating selling point that I can think of.
Have
So
you
there's all sorts of amazing different artists in here.
have you ever heard of Chuck Tingle?
Chuck Tingle. Well, no, but I can tell you that the maker of my boot is Tingley Rainwear Corporation.
Is it?
Interesting. Coincidentally enough.
Chuck Tingle actually makes dino erotica, like novels. Yeah, it's like there's titles like like Me and the Velociraptor one night, and Taken by the T-Rex, and yeah, it's actually pretty.
Wow.
He's got a Facebook page and shit. He might not actually be a bad guy for you to check out. He's actually
Maybe not. I've heard I'm I'm connecting in the very near future with the gentleman who created the birds aren't real conspiracy theory.
really.
Yeah, so that should be very interesting because
how'd that even come to play?
I don't know. A lot like
Just
many
kind of
weird
formed.
things in my life. It just happens through the internet. I'll see a tweet, or somebody will tweet me, or I'll find somebody will drop me a line to one of my Facebook things, and or they'll drop it to my media people, or it's really funny having people here who actually help me. It's really cool. I never had that before. Real staff members. It's great.
So that's a new thing all around then.
Oh, that's totally new. Yeah. I
So
mean,
you were just
before it was just me.
like 30 fucking years basically. You were just winging it. You were handling like everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I had, of course, I had, various documentarians who helped me over the years. Flux Rostrum in the earlier years, and indie media people like Don, and then Steve and Derek started following me and made the Who is Vermin Supreme documentary available on Vimeo, a great document. And then Rod Weber, who made the documentary This is Vermin Supreme, and
Yeah, I remember
like
that.
that. And and during the primary, a group of us would get together and we'd go do all the things. And of course, on the streets, I'd have my affinity group or people I was with. But in terms of any sort of administrative structure, hell no. Um, I used to diagram it all out. This is
A
what my
basic plan, like,
international media empire would look like. But it would have had a lot of moving parts. But now it actually does have some moving parts. And I had people. I had a speech writer. I had people writing policy for me. I had people, writing in my voice, on the website. People who captured what I was saying, and in prior years, I was very precious about what I wrote and put out there. I would, if I handed something to somebody, oh, you should change that. It's like, no way. But it really was very liberating in a way. It was like sort of making it a little bit of the collaborative project that it always was. Really, it was just a matter of me, getting a little bit of my ego out of the way and letting other people bring aspects of the character or the concept or however you want to define the part of me that's not the my physical being,
right.
and letting them run with it, and that was. It was very cool. I thought it was very fun.
Is it a little terrifying though? I mean, you're talking about. I mean, in all honesty, this what you've built. This is your life's work, and then just
Well, yeah,
letting
yeah,
someone
it
step
is.
in,
But
like, I,
I'm very. I've always felt at every step along the way, I have felt respected by my peers, and I have felt successful. It didn't matter what level, whether it was very limited or that grew, but I always felt that what I was doing was righteous. I always believed that it was leading or going in a direction. I had really no idea what the end game might look like. I mean, it wouldn't have been out of question if the media industrial complex had sucked me up. For a short period of time, we were working on a demo of it's a Vermin Supreme prank show, and I'm your jerk off host, Vermin Supreme, and like that.
right.
But luckily, I did not get siphoned on into the corporate comedy part of things and neutered on that, and have just been very happy to do my own thing. To do it a month every 4 years, and just and not do it the rest of the time, and just let it marinate, and then pop it back up, and that was part of the success too. Every 4 years, every presidential election cycle, the audience would replenish. A whole new
Right.
generation of young kids would see me. Oh, look at the crazy guys, Ponies, and because it's been going on so long, I now hear from parents who are fans, whose children
Oh
are
shit.
discovering me independently, and
That's
so
fucking.
it's very cool. When I was
That's
at a debate in Chicago, this dad brought his son, his like 16-year-old autistic son, who just discovered me a few weeks before and became obsessed with me. And he was such a great dad that he brought this kid to meet me. And that was super super cool.
that is pretty fucking
But
cool.
even early, after in 2012, a kid reached out to me because his cousin was going in for some sort of frightening medical treatments, and he was a fan of mine, and so I popped into his hospital room at the Boston Children's Hospital, and that was pretty exciting. And so and people ascribe different levels of import to what I do. Oh, Vermin, what you do, it's so important to democracy, and other people are like, oh Jesus, that is the stupidest motherfucking thing I've ever seen. And everybody's right. It's all everybody's subjective interpretation. Um,
I like that. That's actually a pretty good way of looking at it. Because I mean, honestly, you're right. Everybody is right. Who the fuck are we to say each other's wrong? On some level, everybody's right.
Yeah, everybody's right in their minds.
But it's good. Like, I mean, I don't know. I could definitely see, especially with the character that you portray. I could see like the different sort of criticism and whatnot. And obviously, you got to just blow it off with what you're doing, especially back when we're doing the more just. I guess we could almost just call it political trolling. Like,
Oh
obviously, you
yeah.
got to expect that sort of criticism to come up.
Oh yeah. I mean, sure, sure. I mean, and I never took. I mean, I always enjoyed it when people just thought it was real. You people who took it literally and just like thought that's a man who wears a boot on his head, who has a really wild name, who really wants to give me a pony, and um, that's funny shit. But
I
it
believe he would give me
came
a
back to
pony.
bite me a little bit. Try seeking the nomination because that presentation was so successful that they weren't accepting the fact that it was a put on or something. I go figure.
Well, that's kind of
It's
its
okay.
own. That's like its own problem right there because it's also that which got you to that point of being able to do that. So it's like
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
wouldn't
It's a
have
two-edged
one
sword.
without. Yeah, that's. So now
But but
you're right now you're downtime then. You are kind of laying back while we go through this whole COVID thing.
a little bit. I think
Well,
so.
at
Yeah.
least like public appearances. Like obviously you're moving forward still online. You still exist on the internet and everything, but
Yes. No. Correct. I have not been out on the streets. It's just a little bit frightening. I think, especially because it would be I can see that it would put me in a very difficult position in terms of fans and the selfies in particular. Because
right.
wherever I go, as with the boot on my head, traditionally everybody within a certain vicinity wants the selfies, and I felt that it wouldn't be the safe. It would put me in a position where I'd have to be telling people to back off, back off, back off, back
Well,
off, back. No, no, get away from me. Give me 6 feet. You take your selfie from over there. So it was a certain level. It was a certain level of the logistical difficulties that has been holding me back somewhat. That and just the general concern of the COVID transmission.
so basically a practice what you preach sort of deal. Like actually, I don't want to give out and give this clashing fucking message.
Yeah, no, and that was not during the whole convention year. That was another talking point. I mean, we're anarchists. We don't believe that authoritarian government can tell us or force us to do things, but common sense and scientific knowledge dictates that we should wash our hands and wear a mask and maintain social distance and sit tight if you can to um not overwhelm the medical establishments.
Were you guys
But
pretty shut down then? Like, did you guys weren't doing like full audiences and shit like that for your debates then?
no, it was like May 13th, I believe, was the last convention. And I remember it well because it was like probably the last weekend that people weren't taking it super seriously.
Gotcha.
And I was in Chicago, and my host took me to some goth fetish nightclub and stuff. And it's like I remember I was doing a live stream. It's like, hey everybody, if I catch COVID, it was right here tonight. And during the debate, we were handing the microphone up and down the line of the candidates, and I was a little uncomfortable with it, but and I flew home, and my wife put me into quarantine for 2 weeks, which was fair given that that level of risk, I guess.
Right.
And we've been sitting fairly tight. Of course, uh, giving our full support to all people to exercise their First Amendment rights and of free assembly. I remember when the first group of anti lockdown approached their takeovers of the state house and all that stuff. One of my fans said, like, hey Vermin, I saw you on the debates the other. How come you didn't denounce those COVIDiots? And I said, I believe that people should be able to express their First Amendment assembly and speech rights, but they should be doing it carefully. They should should do it with the mask and the separation. And I'm not going to denounce that particular group because we very well may need to exercise our rights in such a fashion in the near future. And that was a couple weeks before George Floyd's death. And so yeah, of course that's gonna bring people onto the streets, and hopefully not too many COVID related deaths or illnesses will be resultant from all that. But some
Well,
is certainly inevitable because that's the nature of the thing. But
and
freedom isn't free. Free
that's
speech isn't
actually
free.
you. The American frontline doctors. Did you see all that shit that like just happened like yesterday, the day before?
No, I did not. What was that?
Basically, a bunch of questionable doctors. I will say there were some good ones, but they were put together by the Tea Party patriots.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
and then they went out and they did this big
Contrarians.
thing. Yeah, they did this big thing about how hydroxychloroquine is a pure cure and masks aren't needed and all this. And it turns out like one of the main doctors is actually a pediatrician that works out of the strip mall next to her ministry, where she also
Oh, the one with
believes
the sex with demons,
Isabel.
demon seed, and
Yeah, her. But it's
sounds legit. Sounds
what
legit.
what's funny though is that they did have some valid arguments, and all of that's going to be shit on just because of some of this
Oh
crazy
yeah,
shit.
sure. I mean, every great conspiracy theory is believable because there's a basis in what had
Oh yeah,
happened. I mean, Project Paperclip, or the planning to, conspire, the government planning to bomb a building in Cuba and, in Miami and blame it on the Cubans to start a war. And, which lends a lot of credence to 9/11 being an inside job. And, a lot of these, they're based, they're based on some tidbit or some fact or some bit of reality, and then there's just a wild slop on of speculation, I guess. I don't know, or
uh,
finding a
that's
whole bunch of dots and then
I,
connecting them.
I've been doing some QA non debunking, and that's literally how I explain it. Because like especially when it comes to this whole underground battle for against pedophiles for children under in these tunnels in America, and Tom Hanks has been executed, and now it's a clone of him, and it's for his role in the pedophilic ball and all this other shit. But then there's Jeffrey Epstein, and
Yep.
all of a sudden that real situation is used to give validity to all of this crazy shit. It's like
Yep.
all of it. I mean, it's so I agree. I've literally said the same thing. Well, Vermin, I think I don't know. Do you want to? Are you good? What do you got going on? How
Right now,
do you
just
want to wrap
fight,
this up?
fight
And
war on mosquitoes. I'm just fighting the mosquitoes out here.
that's a hard fucking war,
Yeah.
a long fought war.
They're drinking my blood. They're reproducing. They're drinking my blood and reproducing. Using my blood in their reproductive cycle, making more mosquitoes to scund out and suck more blood. It's insidious. Now that's a conspiracy
I'm
theory.
gonna
And
start that.
that one is true. It's true. The mosquitoes bite you, suck your blood, and use it in their reproductive cycle to create more mosquitoes to suck more blood.
I'm in Q groups. I will start that conspiracy.
Okay, good.
I'm just,
Good, good, good.
just gonna
Oh,
let you
and
know that.
the frogs are turning bisexual. They're not turning gay. They're turning bisexual. That's it. Update and a correction. Thank you.
Have you ever done anything with Alex? Have you? Has he ever? Did
We have
Mr. Jones ever?
during the 2016 RNC. I believe there was a newspaper that reported that myself and Rod Weber were involved in the altercation with him. It did not happen. It was not true. It was literally fake news, and we knew it was fake because it reported things that said we had done things that we were nowhere near. It was entertaining to be accused of that, but it definitely never happened. Yeah. And
That's
of
his
course we did have a little bit of a relationship with Joey Biggs for a while. I mean, we were doing interviews with the various InfoWars, and they seemed
right.
to like us pretty good. And uh, Joe Biggs he was going to let me pie him at the first. I wasn't the Straight Pride. It was one of the Resist Marxism rallies in Boston, and for some freaking reason, oh, I remember why. Because my wife and I worked at this after school program, and some of the kids there we met years and years later, and a couple of them were involved in that fascist shit. But it's like, oh, well, what have you been up to? Oh, really? That's interesting. And they were like, oh, it's all for the lols and stuff, and Pepe and shit. And so they invited me to speak at that one, and I had agreed. And but the main reason that I agreed was because I had prior received consent from Joe Biggs to let me pie him in the face during the event, just for a little viral moment. We thought it'd be funny. And but the thing got shut down before we had an opportunity to do that. But it was a little weird. I was walking up to the stage, and I with Mark Stickman there, or Susie Chapstick, whatever his name is there, Stickman or Bass Stickman, and people are yelling at us Nazis, and it was very strange, very curious. Oh, and then one time. They called me out from the stage, invited me up on the stage another time, and because, like I said, I have fans in some of these places. Even at the Straight Pride Parade, I was like, I'm marching with them, and I'm rebranding it as Douchebag Pride, douchebag Pride, douchebag nationwide, and like, and there are people like on the other side in that parade yelling, "Hey, Vermin, how you doing?" It's like, oh my god, I have terrible fans, and of course, I did. It's weird. I don't like it.
I mean, that is. I think overall you found good ways to deal with it, though.
Yeah.
I think overall you found healthy ways to deal with everything.
Yeah. Are we still on? Is the caller there? Is the caller there? Yes, caller, you're on. Hi, yes, you've reached. Well, what's the name of this show again?
I don't even have a fucking name for it yet.
What show am I on?
We actually don't even have a name for this. We actually don't even have a fucking name for this.
I can't hear you.
Well, did you lose your headphones?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I know my earplugs fell out. Hold on. I was so excited that my earplugs fell out. Yes.
Now you can hear me. Actually, no, I don't even have a fucking name for this yet.
Really?
Yeah, it's that premature. You're like one of the very first people to come on.
Wow.
I spent a lot of time busting, like just debunking different of the Q conspiracies and different frauds and shit like that.
Oh,
but I was getting bored.
You would think with the fucking QAnon, you think, I mean, after every last single damn prediction made never came to happen, wouldn't they think it was bunk?
Well, that's the crazy part. They're like just doubling down now. It's like this didn't come true, so no, it didn't come true because all of these other 15 things are fucking going on behind it. Like, I mean, that Tom Hanks thing is serious. So originally Tom Hanks was supposed to be arrested for leading this cabal. Then he was never arrested. So then it changed to he was supposed to be executed, and then obviously he was never executed. So now it's he was executed, but he has a clone that you see on TV and shit. But now
who's really Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, I mean it's like every time they're getting. I think it's a lot of it has to do with actually getting a lot of attention, and now people are actually calling out like, "Hey, none of your shit's happening," and so they're like, "Well." That's because it's actually a robot, and it's just getting crazier and fucking crazier. It, I,
That's crazy. That's some wild shit, man.
it's fascinating to watch. I mean, honestly, it's fascinating to watch. I don't think it's a
You can't
good
make
thing.
that shit up, but somebody sure
No,
made that shit up hard.
no, not at all. Not at all. My God, and some of the comments, those Q guys, they are ruthless too. I don't
Mm.
even read the comments on my YouTube now. Like they just,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you couldn't do that.
oh, they're
If you're
terrible.
not if you're not ready to brawl, it's like Sometimes I can't help myself. I'm sort of surprised that screenshots of me telling people to fuck off really didn't float up more often to say like Vermin Supreme's not very presidential.
Uh,
Telling people to fuck off.
yeah, I get that same thing. People are like, "You're a journalist. You shouldn't talk to me like that." And it's like, I don't work for fucking CNN. Like, what? I don't. There is no way I should talk to you or not talk to you. If you're an idiot, you're a fucking idiot. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know what to
Exactly.
tell you. Well, so what should people do? Because I actually think I'm going to check out something. There might be a large gathering, I'm told, somewhere in my city right now in unity with Portland. What if you don't mind wrapping this up, what do you do? What do you want people to do? We got a whole list of fucking links in the description.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you can check my shit out. Check the Vermin Supreme Institute. Be assured it's a real thing. We can really take your money. We can really spend your money. We can really use your assistance and help. Like I say, we're trying to create multimedia modes of presenting information on any number of subjects. So we're going to need all sorts of creative types and creative skills. And I think we're going to sort of all agree on a general set of ideas and information that we would like to impart. There's that part. Of course, we're trying to put
so that's
together
just
our.
is that like right now with COVID and everything? Do you see that kind of hindering or slowing down the birth of that? Like,
Not necessarily, because I think that's more of a collaborative, digital space-based resource. Anyway, maybe. I mean,
right?
I don't think we never really considered it to be it wasn't going to be a physical location,
Like you have to be in person to do whatever. Yeah.
right? No, no,
Well, online's
yeah.
so fucking powerful now. I mean, you'd be a fool to not.
Indeed, and I believe we're going to try and adapt a lot of the information that we're putting out there that will be able to be used by teachers in the classroom or homeschooling. I mean, if you look at the three-part series I did, Learning with Vermin, we utilized sort of a fictionalized version of my campaign staff, and we were trying to teach, trying to bring in a bunch of volunteers from around the country, and we're in all these things, but we're trying to decide what to have for lunch, and through this process, we explore all the different types of voting methods that there are. And we have all the volunteers like voting on what they're going to have for lunch, Kentucky Fried Lobster, and there's a lot of vomiting, and it's really wacky, but it's also very educational. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of different ways to put out information and be educational. And a lot of these ways, I think we can turn into lesson plans essentially, and to make them more useful in that way too.
Cause it seems like you're kind of evolving right now, like kind of getting more strength behind your actual messages and.
I think so. I think it's like I say. I think I brought it to the level that I could bring it to alone. And now that there's just so many different visionaries and collaborators, coming together to propel it forward, um, that's very exciting. Of course, I'm always cautiously optimistic. In the past,
Right.
once again, so many people say they're going to do so many things, and a lot of things, and of course, you expect a certain level of flake off. But this past year, more so than any time in the past, there's been more follow through and more growth and more fleshing out what it is, the different aspects that we're trying to make happen, and coming up with actual plans and ways to get forward. So I mean, we will become by what we are by we will be defined by what we do. And like I say, we're starting out here, but there just seems to be a lot of excitement, and so I'm grateful for that. I get the appreciation. I accept the love, and just amazed and grateful and thankful that there are so many people who want to use this template or use the Vermin Supreme brand figurehead puppet
Right.
to help put forward ideas.
But that's also kind of a cool part about it because it's not. It seems like this is like a just a natural, organic kind of progression that you're going through, a natural evolution instead
Oh,
of you just coming out and saying, "This is what we're fucking doing. Build this. Find me these people." Instead, you have people come to
oh
you
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
"Hey,
yeah. No,
let's."
I'm very much not like that. And I think a lot that was perfect during the election cycle because I gave total deference to my campaign team essentially. Because they knew what they were doing. They knew the goals. They knew the lay of the land. They had a much better understanding of what we were trying to accomplish than I did. Because I just didn't pay any attention to that level of real actual practicing politics
Right, the PR
and
and
uh,
all
and
the different
similar.
relations and
Yeah,
pleasing. Yeah, that's it is. I mean, there's a reason why there's
yeah.
political
And I've done
teams.
it.
That's there's 100% reasons for political teams.
Yep, yep. And we got one going on, man. Now we
I
are mildly unstoppable.
I still say you did pretty damn fucking good for doing your first run. For what it's worth, I'm
Oh,
proud of you.
thank you. I accept that. It means to me. Um, it is that it was a transition. It was definitely a transition. Like I say, it wasn't alien. It wasn't. It was very new, but it was just such a natural extension, such a natural progression.
Again, yeah, it seems like this was your evolution point. At some point, you were going to hit this point where it's like, well, hold
Yeah,
on,
I mean,
let's hear
previous years it was
let's
always
hear
kind of
what this asshole actually has to say for a minute. Like, he might be onto
yeah.
something here.
I mean, in previous years, it was sort of like always, trying to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit flashier. I never was trying to make it a little more serious or
Right?
anything like that. Or, but that has been just part of me being so open um, to the possibilities
Did you
in my life.
did you get some what the fucks when that came out? Just like some of the hardcore followers over the years, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Not a lot. I mean, there was some negativity or from the left, but or portions of it. Um, but once again, I believe that people who've known me and what I've been doing and working on and for all these years, they understood that. Like as I had referenced, I get a lot of political capital, a lot of goodwill. A lot of people are willing to give me the benefit of the doubt. In 2016, I started utilizing open carry as a statement in conjunction with my campaign. I went to the New Hampshire State House to register to be president, and I had this vision that I would have a shit ton of guns on me, and so I had a bunch of friends up there with the Liberty um, movement, and they hooked me up with all these guns, and we showed up, and I knew that Ben Carson was going to be there. I knew he was going to have Secret Service, and I knew there was a very real likelihood that they would ask me to disarm, and of course, so that becomes
Right.
part of the script. And it was a whole lot of fun and pretty wacky, and it was just like fun's with gun. But I knew also, and I knew that well, maybe I will alienate some of my anti-guns or anti-gun audience because once again I have people on pro and anti of pretty much every issue. But I also knew a lot of them were going to be like, vermin. What are you going to
Right.
do?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, overall though, that's are you
So
did
yeah, I took some hits for going full libertarian and being a full on libertarian shill. But I think it was I believe that I was very transparent in my exposition and explanations and descriptions of of exactly what I was doing. I was simply trying to, offer people the opportunity to look at the libertarian platform, lp.org/platform, and see for themselves what kind of overlap, what kind of Venn diagram overlap they might have with it, and see if they could work with it. I mean, it's a party of anarchists and minarchists. What other political party is going to take you if you're an anarchist or a minarchist?
Right.
Um, and I think it was successful in just that. People giving the party a second look that, oh, Vermin Supreme's running with the libertarians. I'd better check that out. Well, maybe it's not what I think it is. I mean, that was another hashtag. It's not what you think it is. Something different. Something you might be able to work with. I don't know.
Did
So yeah,
you?
and now I'm on. I got elected on the judicial committee of the Libertarian Party. So I've got, and I'm a at-large member in the psychedelic caucus of the Libertarian Party. So I'm continuing my work with the Libertarian Party, and I believe that there uh, is an opportunity to, if work within that party to make it more interesting. I don't want to say change to our liking, but we'll say make it more friendly to more
Just
people, perhaps.
we'll say there's open doors.
Let's just
There's
say, let's just say I was endorsed by the Libertarian Socialist Caucus.
that is that is fucking. I mean, but again, it was bound to happen. I mean, honestly, it was.
Yeah,
Oddly enough, I think you might be one of the sanest parts of politics right now. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, yeah, because I
at
don't
least
do a
you're
lot of
willing to
thought.
listen. At least you're willing to listen to both sides.
Yeah,
That's
and I don't, and I definitely don't mind saying that I've got no idea when I've got no idea.
which
And
is another thing a lot I can respect very much. I try and do
that
that
was
as much as I can. Well, so where actually there was one other. You what did you do here in my home state of Kansas? You were doing attorney general.
oh shit, that was so much fun. That
Yeah,
yes,
that
I
was.
ran for the Attorney General of Kansas. That was a really beautiful off-year election bit of fun that we had there. It just came across my Facebook feed, that bit about the kids who were running for governor because they found the loophole in the Constitution.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I want in on that. But I didn't want to step on the kids' toes, and that race became a little crowded. So, yeah, I decided, I looked down ticket and said, oh, I will run for attorney general because if there were no requirements of age or no requirements of being a lawyer or no residency requirements, boom,
Right.
I'm in. And I raised $1,600 for the filing fee, half of it by selling glitter neckties at a
I
libertarian
actually bought one of
convention.
those. I actually bought one
Well,
of those.
thank you very much
I
for helping
still
make
have
that
that
possible.
actually. I still have that hanging in my bedroom. I got a purple one
That
with
was a
gold
that
glitter.
was a wildly successful time, and so I raised the money, and then we call up the Secretary of State. He's like, "Oh, we got the money. How do we get it to you?" It's like, "Oh, the candidate has to arrive there in person," and I'm like, "What? That's a few days away." And so I had to raise a bunch of more money and flew down there. We had that great. I met Chris Kalbach and brushed his teeth with my giant toothbrush, and gave him my money and dicked around with the whole thing. And we had that rally in front of the Capitol building, and that whole debate team, an entire high school debate team, about 30 kids showed up to hear me, to meet me and hear me. And I mean, that involved, I mean, just from a Facebook feed that I noticed, it turned into something where I said I was going to do it, and then I had to do it, raise the money to do it, go there, give them the money,
And
and
then you
then
really had to do
and
it.
then yeah, and then and what happened? I mean, the things that went into play were my unintended consequences. Number
Kansas
one,
Kansas
the
shit
the
on you pretty
Democrats
hard.
the Democrats did not want to put up a candidate. They weren't going to put up a candidate. They were going to let Schmidt run unopposed. Once they heard that I was flying into Kansas with $1,600 in my pocket to be his Kobach's, I mean, to be Schmidt's sole Democratic opponent, they immediately went out and reached and grabbed that woman
It's
at that law firm.
Sarah Swain.
Sarah Swain, who was not their
Yeah.
first choice, who was not somebody they were going to put up.
No, no,
And
they
then
were not happy about that.
so they were totally not happy about that. Now I didn't know that I that was not intended. And then they found a few weeks later when they found that poster of Wonder Woman strangling a police officer with a
Yep.
lasso of justice and her law firm logo on it. Boy, oopsie. So I made that happen by accident, and then of course I made the by accident made the head of the Republican Party there object to
Oh,
me,
they were
and so
pissed.
then
They
I
were
have forced the
pissed.
objection board to meet. The objection board had to meet. Derek Schmidt had to recuse himself because he was one of three members. So then they made the decision that no, the founders of the Constitution totally decided that Vermin Supreme should not be on there. And so then I got my attorney to sue them in federal court. And so they could not defend themselves because it was a conflict of interest. And once again, had to hire outside counsel to fight my demand to be for injunctive relief. And that's when I went to visit y'all out at that ICE protest and fell
Yeah.
asleep on the water sprinklers.
Yeah, poor Vermin. He got he, he slept with us on the corner of an intersection where this ICE detention center was. And unfortunately, we didn't know the layout of the land too well, so he woke up a few nights to getting blasted in the face with sprinklers.
Oh my goodness, I remember that so hard. I was like, gotta get up for court tomorrow. Gotta get some sleep in here. I'll sleep right here on the grass and stuff. All of a sudden, psh, 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 psh.
I
Whoa, I'm getting
remember,
hit in the head with water.
I remember telling you I think I could get you a couch, but we were out on the corner, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm coming to the corner. I'm just gonna stay there with you guys."
Oh,
God, those
fuck
vermin.
that.
Yeah, vermin getting
Jeez,
sprayed.
that was.
Vermin Supreme getting sprayed in the face with a
However,
sprinkler
the,
at the shit that we
the,
set up. I will is an image I'll never
wait a
forget.
minute, wait a minute. No, Chet, were you there? Did you see this image? This one will never leave my mind. This one was when people were writing graffiti on the phone poles, on the light posts, with that stuff that the people write
Oh yeah,
happy
yeah, yeah,
graduation on their
yeah,
cars with.
yeah.
And so they found out that you can wipe it away with 409. So this one-armed guy, and nothing
Yes.
against guys with one arm at all, comes up with this bottle of 409 and starts squirting it on the graffiti on this pole, which is probably about 20 inches round or something. And so he starts wiping it off and going around the pole. And in the meantime, two other people go up there with the markers and they start making the same graffiti. So they're chasing each other around the pole, and this guy is wiping it off as fast as the others could write it. Oh my goodness. It was so crazy and funny.
That, I had almost forgot about the one armed man. The one armed man wiping off the. Oh shit!
That
I
was
tell you,
too much. Oh my goodness.
man, they ended
Good
up
times.
really. They ended up taking everything from us there. They made us.
Oh
They
yeah,
made us
that's what
pack
I
up and leave.
heard.
They even took our water bottles. They took everything. It was fucked up.
Fuckers. Fuckers. Don't they believe in the First Amendment?
Said that we couldn't have
Oh wait,
any
that's sorry.
structures. Right? No structures whatsoever. Tables, water bottles. They took fucking everything. It was bullshit.
Bullshit, man. Yes, yes, yes. Indeed. Have to work out. I guess it's a tailgate party next time.
Right. I guess I don't. It was real weird though,
Oh,
because well, I mean, I guess kind of like all over the country, they were doing that shit where one day
oh
it's
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
then the next day it's not okay, then shift change, it's okay again, then shift change, it's not okay again, and fucking
yep. Random exercise of power.
yep,
Inconsistent and fucking tyrannical.
extremely inconsistent. I agree with something you said earlier of like it's like we have been watching just authoritarian practice runs up to this point, and I mean this
And
goes
the
to
other
just
thing,
practice runs.
I do want to point this out to you because it's very true. I think your audience will appreciate it. I mean, the thing that a lot of people don't understand is, the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution gives us the right of freedom of assembly and freedom of speech, and to petition the government for a redress of our grievances. And so we go out on the streets. We have a grievance. We want to petition the government for a redress of our grievance. Now, who does the government send out to interface with us, the citizens who are petitioning them? They do not send out the assistant to the state representative. They do not send out the governor's people, the mayor's people. No, they do not send out the representative of Congress or the congressional aides or pages to come and find out what these people are attempting to petition their government for their grievances. No, they send out the enforcement arm of the government
the
of the
brick
state.
wall.
They sent out the police. They sent out the riot cops to interface with us who are, hey, excuse us, we would like to speak to our government. We're the government. They're the only government they send. And when we are petitioning the government, and when our grievance is specifically with the actions of the police, what the fuck what do they expect is going to happen?
Well, and it's confusing. People are mad at the police, but they forget that I mean, granted, I get it. Like cops do fucked up shit. They're a fucked up dude. I get it, but that's not even who we're mad at. I mean, they don't got any say in this shit. Yeah, Officer Johnson here is just out here pepper spraying people. He doesn't have jack shit to do with the initial reason why we're mad, and he has no fucking say over changing any of it. But
Man, no clue. I mean, that's why I think I've had to, I like to propagandize the front line of the riot cops when I'm talking to them, because you know that they don't, a lot of times they don't even know what they're doing. I've walked down a line of probably 100 cops, and I was going down the line, and I was asking each cop, am I free to go? Am I being detained? And they didn't know. They did not know. Every last one of them. Every 20 cops or so, I'd hit up a sergeant. Oh, of course you are. But the cops on the line, they did not know. They didn't need to know. They are just sitting there. That's why they're a captive audience for propagandizing. Because they are hot, they are sweaty, they are out there for hours. They are being kept up on 12-hour shifts. They may be chafing. They can't even piss without fucking somehow signaling their people. So yeah, and so I find it an entertaining thing to do to try and incite mutiny and distrust of their commanding officers and the structures and the people who are putting them in danger's way, and criticizing their tactics and all of those things until they're ordered to attack. And and I try and tell them, you don't have to hurt us. You can pull your punches. We understand that if your CEO says make a move, you're going to do your riot control dance. But seriously, do you have to be so fucking goddamn violent?
oh yeah, and I've tried to
Like I
explain
say,
that to people before. Like that, there is no color or wealth when you're up against one of those riot lines. Those riot lines don't give a fuck what you are, male, female,
oh,
black, white, rich, poor.
yeah.
If they're told to hurt that crowd, they're gonna hurt that fucking crowd.
Yeah,
Period.
and of course, one of the few times where a government official did go out to listen to people. The mayor of Portland, he
Yeah.
went out to listen to people. You got tear gassed. There you go.
And man,
So yeah,
the reaction was fucking. They did not give one shit. They were still pissed, which they have every right to be, because they're like, yeah, this is what you've been doing to us for 50 plus fucking days, and now you fucking see what it's like to be out here for the last 50 fucking days. So it's
yep.
definitely. I mean, I get it. I get why they're mad. I get why that wouldn't mean shit to them. I almost feel like the mayor expected everyone to be like, "How could you?" But yeah, we lost. We lost. How could you around day 4 or 5 of this going on straight? Now we're at almost. Now we're past day 60. But
Oh
I
yeah,
think I
yeah.
think Portland's heading towards day
Oh,
70.
and Portland won. The people of Portland won, and the feds have surrendered.
I actually did not see that. Did that?
That is breaking news. I saw that on the feed. I believe that to be true. It was reported by seemingly reputable news sources that the feds have announced that they are withdrawing.
Let's
So,
see.
congratulations, people of Portland. You are winners. You beat the government. U.S. out of North America. Let's
Yep.
do it, people. So yeah,
Oregon
defund
governor.
those fuckers.
Oregon
There are
governor.
arguments to be made that the government property is illegitimate property, and I even made that argument during the libertarian debates, and there's some agreement to that. That's not inconsistent. Yes, there are a lot of propertarians, but there's an property may be illegitimate. Obviously, a majority of the American people did agree in that one poll that burning down that police station um, was okay.
Yeah,
So these are
there's
indeed
a
interesting
surprising
times.
amount of support. Yeah, but actually, you are 100% correct. Right here with USA Today, or Oregon governor, federal authorities reach agreement to begin withdrawing agents from Portland.
Boom.
So yeah, congratulations, Portland.
Yep.
We have
Absolutely.
a clear agreement that all Customs and Border Protection and ICE officers will leave downtown Portland on Thursday. Shortly thereafter, they will go home. A limited contingent of federal officers who provide security year-round to the federal courthouse will remain and stay focused on the interior. So,
Don't
yeah.
let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
Well, that's been fucking terrifying all around.
No doubt.
Uh,
Terrifying, crazy. A precedent that is super frightening for our country and our
well,
citizenry.
one thing that's shitty though, like these are, granted, it's like definitely a different. Uh, there's a different atmosphere with it all around, but a lot of the shit being seen out there is not new shit. Like media being attacked and pepper sprayed and medics being attacked in
Yep.
areas, and I mean
Yep. Yep.
those
Yep.
that's
That's all
not new
par for the
shit.
course. Nope. All fucking par for the course. Nothing
But
new under the sun.
it's kind of nice though to see that at least people are talking about it for once. Like
Absolutely. No, it seems to be a watershed moment, and I hope it continues to be so. And it continues to be a long, hot summer. And
did,
the
did
brutality that we witnessed across the country. I mean, just excessive fucking cheap shots by all those bad cops. People
do,
see that shit.
do you
I know
know
it's
do you know John Ziegler by chance? Have you ever ran into John Revolutionary Z? He's a live streamer.
I don't. I'd be surprised if I hadn't. It sounds
I'm
very
sure you
familiar.
have. At the very least, you've probably crossed his shit. I actually
Does he
just
work with
remember
Does he work with a group?
he John. He's mainly done his own thing under Revolutionary Z, but I mean, God, he's been in so many places. I'm sure he's connected with a few different people. But like he was in Standing
Google
Rock.
up our two names. See if there's anything that comes up.
Yeah. Um, actually, I will.
Revolutionary Chief.
But John, when he was in Standing Rock, which you were in Standing Rock, that was actually I think my first time
Briefly,
meeting
yeah.
you. Um,
Really?
yeah, I think so. It was when
Before
God,
that was before Kansas, huh? Okay.
yeah, I think it
Okay.
was
Yeah. I forgot that
when we were
on the timeline.
going
Correct.
to. I think we were going to strip the barbed wire off of Turtle Hill that day. But they, man, I just remembered this the other day and actually made a post about it. Like I remember I did an article on it even because I've known John. I first met John back in Ferguson. And I remember watching the stream where the cops called his name, and then when they turned to look at him on a live stream, they shot him in the hand with a rubber bullet and broke his fucking hand.
Wow.
So I mean, like
Fuckers.
this sort of stuff in Portland, like it is a different level, but I mean, this is something that's been going on for a very long fucking time.
Yes. And the simple fact of the matter is that anything that is in excess of the minimal use of force is excessive. I mean, it's the most basic tenet of fucking law enforcement there is. The minimal use of force needed to effect an arrest. And anything beyond that is excessive and could be considered brutality. And so it's very, very fucked up to see the cops take delight and exercise and practice such sadistic behavior.
I
And
just
it
I
is
just did an article like 2 days ago on in Eugene, Oregon. Like apparently this 14-year-old girl had kicked a trash can into the street. And on this video, I don't know if you saw it or not, you just see a group walking. And there's a group, like, and at the time, it looks like possibly somebody from a couple guys from the Proud Boys or somewhere along those lines. They're kind of heckling the protesters as they're walking. And then just out of nowhere, and remind you, there's a large group. There's a lot of people there. This group of cops, it's like 3, 4 cops. I think it ended up being a total of 4 different cops that helped out. Fucking tackle and like violently throw this 14-year-old girl to the ground that supposedly kicked a trash can into the street. I mean, out of everybody, out of
Helped.
the
They helped her. You're saying
yes, yeah, they assisted her to leave the
the
protest
four
early.
four cops helped her pick up the trash can or something.
But I mean,
Yeah.
there was at one point like 2 cops even got her on the ground, and one of them walks over and steps on her hand while because she's resisting. But I mean, she's also a 14-year-old girl that just got snatched up from behind and thrown to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
How did?
Yeah. Don't know who you're don't know who you're fighting there for a second.
Well, that's an even more terrifying part with this federal shit. I mean, if most people, if some guy hops out of a van and grabs you, you're going to punch him in the face or try and do something, and then all of a sudden now you just assaulted a federal officer. That's not a funny charge. That's a life-changing charge right there.
Yeah. Yep. Fucked up times. Let's keep whatever pressure we can on our elected representatives and see if we can't continue defunding the police.
Do you got any suggestions all around? Like what suggestions does Vermin have to help with all of it? Everything from the blue line to the Biden to the Trump to the fucking everything.
Once again, we need to build up our parallel structures. We need to build up our communities. We need to strengthen our families. We need to do everything within our community-based, autonomous, cooperative, consensual, free will associations to be self-sufficient and not need the police. Watch each other's back. Be safe. Be careful. Follow all recommendations.
So basically act like how a society is supposed to fucking act for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, just keep on working towards that post-state utopia, but obviously, it's a long haul project. It's a long-term project. Just and once again, I mean, this is just the most recent incarnation. I mean, it might be the biggest political movement since Occupy or whatever, but it's just I just take great pleasure in seeing it happen. To see so many people together, so many kids on the streets united against a common enemy, and knowing that they are making friendships and relationships that will likely last them for the next 30 years, as I was lucky enough to continue many friendships and relationships that I made 30 years ago when I was their age, when I was first turned on to politics, when I first started doing street demonstrations. And I think
that is one thing. 30 years ago to right now, do we have because it feels like there's more of the younger crowds getting involved. What do you think? 30 years to now, or 30 years ago compared to now, do we got more of a younger kiddos starting to take attention?
It seems like there's a lot more of them, and a lot more on the street. And of course, some of that's COVID related. A lot of kids out of the school, they're not going to college. They need that they were available and ready to invest a good chunk of time. And I certainly hope they get extra credit for that too, because they should, and they might at the Vermin Supreme Institute. Well, actually, we're not accredited, of course. So. Well, we can make participation certificates, I believe. I think that's okay.
I bet you could. I feel like that'd be all right.
Totally.
Maybe do banana stickers with them.
Yeah, I think so. Gold
pony
stars.
Pony stickers.
Haha, indeed.
Well, Vermin, I do appreciate your time and everything. I appreciate you being one of my first people to come on here. Actually, I think I'm going to get...
Thank you.
I think I'm going to get Mr. Rod Weber to come on sometime in the pretty near future. We were actually talking about it the other day, but he was still in Portland, and I really didn't want to
Yep, yep. Oh,
make
he
him
did some.
pull away from all that
He
shit.
he he
Just
was
to,
he was dicking around with some uh blue Blue Lives
I
Matter
did,
event.
I
Did you
did
see
see
some of that?
that. I
Yeah,
was
I
watching
mean,
some of
I
that.
I just that's really good stuff. I mean, when he gets going on the absurd end of the spectrum, it gets really good sometimes. Oh my
No,
goodness.
I definitely enjoy Rod's lives. I enjoyed. I don't know. Both of you have that skill of. I don't know. It's definitely different of lightening up what should be a shittier, intenser situation. Like when Rod. I don't know if you saw when he caught the Proud Boys kiddos. What Joey Gibson and Tiny and all of them in a Chop in Seattle.
Yep, yep, yep. Just jumped right into their shit and started getting silly.
Yeah, he
Just,
did, but he did in a way that still kind of lined up a situation that, honestly, I mean, those guys are pieces of shit. It is
yep.
what
Oh,
it
absolutely,
is. They've done some
absolutely. You know,
terrible fucking things. Most people would try and take it super serious and take it to that next level, but I don't know. Rod had that nice balance of calling him out for
mhm.
being a piece of shit, but
Yep.
at the same
Yep,
time
for
doing it in
sure.
that
I mean, I
fun
have
route.
found that humor has allowed me to be a lot more aggressive than I would normally be allowed to be in interactions with, say the politicians, for example. If I wasn't being funny and goofy, sometimes it would just be perceived to be some too aggressive,
Right.
too scary.
Well, and not to mention, it also kind of fucking stings a little bit more to be made a joke than to just be called an asshole.
Yep, true.
You know that's a blow. That's a little bit harder to bounce back from when somebody points out, like, no, he's not an asshole. He's fucking a ridiculous asshole. That's what he is. So it's no, I definitely appreciate the way both of you guys have done stuff.
Yeah, like I remember calling out Milo at Straight Pride. Milo, I'm with the bill collection agency. You owe us a lot of money, and we haven't heard from you for a while. Well, I'm here to talk to you. So funny.
Wasn't there
Fuck.
at the inauguration? Wasn't there eggs at some point in time?
There was eggs.
There
There was
was
there was a
eggs.
lot of things. There was a lot
I
of things.
thought
That was the deplorable. I
it
pulled
was a
Geraldo over the
deplorable.
table.
That's yeah. That's what it was. A deplorable.
Yeah, that was that. I think that was the first time on the street where I was, experienced the dynamic that there was, physical violence occurring between the demonstrators. Up to that point, in most of my involvement in most political demonstrations, there wasn't that dynamic. It's a very interesting new thing
Right.
for me. Trying to,
Fuck. So
make
what
it.
is what's this mean for 2020? Like, are you? Because obviously, I think we're past the point of getting rid of COVID by then. Are you going to be at the inauguration and shit
I
like
just,
that?
I'm cautiously optimistic. Like I say, I do have, just my own personal security space concerns, just because of the selfie thing. But I would very much like to get back out on the streets and amplify my voice. Of course, it wasn't really appropriate in a lot of the Black Lives Matter demonstration. I didn't want to be like
Right.
some old white guy fucking taking the lead on that. That
Right.
would not be right. I would have felt clean and clear on the protest because that was a clear anti-government morphine. And I certainly ultimately it's election year, and I had planned on being at the conventions, but now I'm a
Right.
little bit iffy on them.
Yeah.
But we'll just playing it by ear. I certainly when I think it's if a vaccine comes down the pike, sure, I'll get vaccinated and won't give it another thought. Quite frankly, you know,
Oh,
um,
and
e-
right
e-
there,
even if it even if it's bunk.
right, right there, you just turned off every anti-vaxxer that'll ever see this. Now you're a
and
monster.
anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers. What do you think the Venn diagram overlap of that
Oh
is?
man. So if it because obviously everybody's saying like fall it's supposed to spike back up. If it is bad, if the inauguration just if it even goes through, but you can't attend it, would that be the first time that you haven't in like The whole 30 fucking years.
Hmm. I've missed a few, I think.
Missed a couple here and there.
Yeah, I think I missed maybe Obama's second. Maybe it was. I don't know. Here and there, here and there. I like to get to things, but I don't feel too bad if I don't.
Right.
I just can't be everywhere. Can't be as many places I like to be. But now that we have the Vermin Supreme Institute that will be able to bankroll travels as a legitimate expense, of course, much like my campaign fund provided a very similar function of allowing me to travel around the country to all the various state conventions on other people's dimes, which was beautiful because for many years it came out of my pocket and got to a point where I couldn't afford it, even though this election year I raised more money than I had spent on all 30 previous years of campaigning.
Damn.
So
That's impressive.
there was that. Yeah, and it is impressive. It impressed me. It amazed me, that enough people liked me enough to want to see me do bigger, better things. That's
Right.
that's very cool.
I mean, if anybody put in the time to give it a shot, it's definitely you. You've
Mm.
you're you're definitely a veteran of the shit at this point. You're
I mean,
you're
I'm,
one
I'm the
of
people's candidate, and you are the people, and you are the power. You are the power. Yeah, definitely link up that commercial. In fact, you should splice those commercials into this show. That would be very cool.
I got to figure out. I'm having this one fucking audio
Here,
issue.
we'll just set it up so you can edit it like that.
Well, and
You know, I,
I
it's
have
all live one take.
I have this one fucking audio issue because I actually do have like other scenes set up, but for some reason I can't get my internet audio to go right without echoing my guest. So that's one thing I'm still trying to iron out. But I'm on this new software, or else I could at some point. I'll make you fucking do this again, and we'll be able to play. We'll be able to play shit in the background and actually point out what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm hoping to get that software up. I'm hoping to, because that would be a very easy podcast style thing for me to do. Show videos off of YouTube and give play by plays and stuff on them.
I tell you, I'm using a vMix right now, and I'm really if like to get the higher up platforms of it's a little pricey, but man, it's good software. It's solid. Like right now,
Well, let me tell you this: if my institute is successful, yes, it can happen.
well, there's free
Because
versions of the vMix as well. No, I'm telling you, it's something you might want to look into because really, that's how you're on here right now. This is all through vMix. Which vMix, if you ever see this, feel free to reach out to me for some sponsorship.
I should do it. My podcast could be me calling all the people I've done podcast shows with and interviewing them.
This is true.
That'd be fun.
I would do it.
That'd be conceptual. That'd be a conceptual piece. I like it.
You know what? And I just remembered this. There was actually a reason why I brought up Kansas. Is that the only non-president run?
Since early on, I ran for mayor of Baltimore in '87. That was my first political run. Not political at all, just something to do. I ran for mayor of Detroit and the Nevada nuclear test site that year. And I think I might have, and once again, by running, it really just means me saying that I am.
Right.
Not much more than that, and for going out and campaigning a little bit, and pretty much. I mean, there's a few other throwaway things. I think I was running for all of Congress. I think in '94 I was claiming Vermin Supreme for Congress, all of it.
Just the whole damn thing. I got them all.
Yeah, totally. No more log jams. No siree. It's unanimous. Boom.
So if you were all of Congress, would you give yourself a term limit?
Of course not. I'd give myself a raise.
So you're going. I see what's going on here. You're going for dictatorship, is what you want. You're not leaving.
Yeah.
Once you get in an office, you are not fucking leaving. That's the basic plan.
It's all here in my new book, and I do plan on replacing Congress with a council of memes, which it's a direct result of online voting. because the theory becomes then the people who got liked the most as a meme or shared on the internet the most got the most votes, and then they form a council. Now, of course, many memes are unsuitable because they're like cartoons, like
This is
Zoltar
true.
or whatever, or like a cat, like Grumpy Cat. I mean, they wouldn't really be effective in a deliberative body. But there are human ones. I mean, once again, other humans like Scumbag Steve or Bad Luck Brian. They were just photographs taken out of context and ascribed new meanings. But there are some people, Antoine Dotson or Sweet Honey Brown, people who became Jimmy McMillan, people who became famous for doing what they were doing, became memes for what they were doing, and those are the type of memes that would be suitable as a deliberative body to guide America into the 23rd century. It's all in the book.
Didn't Grumpy Cat died?
Yeah,
I think Grumpy Cat died it.
yeah. Grumpy Cat. Grumpy Cat is with Keyboard Cat now.
Oh yeah, and at age 7. That's right, because it was like a Munchkin kitty. It didn't have a. I actually just looked it up. It looks like it was complications from a urinary tract infection.
Damn
Right?
you, urinary infection!
UTI claims another great. That's it's
Bad.
well, Vermin. So
Yeah.
how do you want
Well, yeah.
people?
Maybe you should make your podcast about memes.
I'd
Maybe
actually.
just skip all this political nonsense, the analysis, and you can just talk about the latest memes and stuff.
I'm telling you, like on
Or
solo, I don't even know about doing like the. I don't even really feel like I like fucking with the conspiracy kiddos when it's just me. I don't fucking really care to do the politics thing.
uh,
I don't know. It's just so much.
I
Like,
met Tron Guy once. Do you know Tron Guy?
yes,
He was an
okay,
early meme. I think he was
yeah.
right after Goatsy maybe. But I met him. He was he was like didn't want you to touch his suit. Obviously, he was wanting to get it to the Smithsonian or something. And nice guy. And I met Antoine Dotson, and I briefly met Scumbag Steve. It was at the RaffleCon, the rolling on laughing my ass off, rolling on the floor laughing my ass off con. They held it at MIT for several years, and I caught the last one right after I had become a meme. So that was pretty amazing. So many memes.
Were you? Did you and Hunter Thompson ever cross paths?
No, I'm afraid not.
That's kind of surprising, honestly. I kind of feel like at
He's
some point your two paths would have collided into each other like a fucking
I think
derailed
that
train.
I think that might be in the sequel of my book. I think that's a perfect theme. I think that would be some real good fan fiction, quite frankly.
That you're probably 100% correct there. That really is kind of surprising that you two didn't ever cross
Sometimes
paths.
the fiction of Vermin Supreme is much more exciting and fanciful than real world me.
I'm guessing that's something that you get a lot. Like, do you hear stories of what you did, and you're just like, oh wow, I didn't do that, but
I
okay.
do, I do, but if it's but some I know that didn't happen, but there are a lot um, that probably did that sound sounds enough like me. Or especially in the demonstration situations or maybe rainbow or when there's so much going on and I'm in such the zone and
Right.
moving quickly from one thing to the next. There are and I'm really not processing and I'm not making memories of them. And so in a lot of those situations, I almost have to rely on, hearing stories of what I had done or what I was doing, or check out the video replay. And sometimes I'm like, "Whoa, I
Well,
did what?"
I'll be fucking damned. It
Okay,
turns out I
okay,
did.
all right, okay.
do you even correct the do you even correct the bullshit ones, or do you just let them run with it?
Uh, no, no. Well, usually I'll say I don't remember that one, or if it, but or if it was some another person, I might credit the right person. I don't know. Just depends. I mean, I've got incredible amounts of freedom to play things in any different direction. With the improv, I mean, I can be serious or stupid or funny or clownish or any level of affect or um, you know, put push it as far as I like, be as rude as I like, be as obnoxious as I, it just all depends on what seems appropriate and what mood I'm in, I guess. Of course that colors it. Am I in a happy mood where you're not gonna anything's not gonna be bothering me, or are you saying something and I'm a little short tempered and I'm gonna fucking throw something back, a little meaner? I don't know. Um, it
Do
just
you got
just a lot of different factors.
aside from like everything going on? If we were in a normal world, do you got anybody that you're gonna do any tour stuff with? Anybody in mind that you want to link up with that you have or haven't before?
Hmm. Well, I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of touring. I did two-week tours with Rob Patillo in 2016, and that was a really good tour. But both of them, the first tour overlapped. It straddled election day, and it was real good. The show we had, we didn't know who won. We made it a point of not even hearing the election results until we didn't even know until the next day. And then the second tour, we straddled the inauguration, and so we were doing college tours and bowling alleys and venues, and we ended up in D.C. for the inauguration and partook of all those festivities, trying to tell the cops to stand down. I was giving orders as their commander in chief. With limited success, unfortunately.
It was worth a
But I was
shot,
given
though.
a deal. Yeah, it was totally worth a shot, and
It was worth
did
a
a
shot.
show for the people. Did a little show for the J20 who when they were all rounded up when they were being detained against that building. There was a lot of activity there, and Rob Patillo was there, and Matthew Silver, the performance artist, was there, and um, yeah, we did. I did a little, communicating with the people who were in police custody for all purposes. And that was very very interesting little very appreciative audience to play for, because they're all surrounded and being detained and a lot of uncertainty, of course, and they did try and jam them real heavy there before they ended up dropping almost all the charges. But it
That's
felt good to be be stupid to the cops in front of the cops and demand things of the cops. And I was claiming that I was a hostage negotiator, and I was there to negotiate on the hostages' behalf and trying to get to send me their commanding officer and all that shit. Because sometimes they do. At some places, they'll sort of have an inkling of who I am, and I will demand to see their commanding officer after playing with the front line cops for a little bit. And sometimes they will, in fact, come out and interface with me, and I will ask them what their fucking objectives are, and if you know seems reasonable and works jives with public safety and not against the First Amendment. I might spread that word to the crowd with the disclaimer, of course, where that request came from. But
right.
so I have acted in that capacity of unofficial hostage negotiator in the past, and
But it also kind of
so,
goes back to like, I mean, shit, you've said it a few times that some people might just view it as a pure out fuck the police, hate the police, whatever. But at this, like you do have a better message of just nobody needs to get fucking hurt. Like y'all,
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, no, I have learned to alter reality. Once again, you go to enough of these things, you understand the script. You understand the tit for the tat. There is this um, no person's zone between the demonstrators and the police. It is a vacuum. It will be filled eventually. Will it be some cheap shot taken by a cop? Will it be some protester getting over exuberant and getting that reaction?
a water bottle
But
being thrown.
yes, which will lead to more
Any
things. But I have discovered and found myself quite comfortable in this space and taking that space and filling that space with my bullhorn, with a voice of reason, and playing this sort of master of ceremonies and providing safety information to the crowd. Things about what might happen with the chemical weapons, and if you're asthmatic, please consider moving way upwind, or if you have contacts, please remove them, or if the police charge, please walk, please run, don't run, please watch the back of all the people you are with, and please have situational awareness, please help anybody who needs help. Making people aware that there is an exit, if indeed there is an exit, if we aren't being kettled, because of course, and essentially that what those are prophylactic techniques to avoid crowd panic, because crowd panic is something that happens
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of times, and the police instigate. I mean, the police instigate crowd panic, and that's in their tool of disruption. It has zero to do with public safety. They are trying to create a panic situation where people can get hurt. The
Oh,
flashbangs, so
I,
warning,
I
making
still,
people know that the flashbangs could happen, and it's just so that
I,
they don't.
I still remember one of the worst nights I've ever seen was during Ferguson. It was when we were. That's when they were still right before the DOJ said that they had to stop tear gassing people, and it was by far that was actually the night that I met John Ziegler, and that was by far. It was just crazy because what happened was they were actually just because of the shit that happened the night before and everything. They were trying to end it peacefully, go home, and it was during a prayer. Like the whole group did a prayer, and during the prayer there was this one group of like three younger, just pissed off kiddos, probably like 18ish or so, and they were screaming. People were trying to calm them down. They ended up throwing a water bottle at the cops, and people were even pointing them out, like, just grab them, grab them. It's not all of us, just fucking grab them. And just all hell broke loose. We ended up being held in a parking lot by, I don't know, probably around 50 heavily armed, very militarized, like probably like county browns and whatever other police they brought in. But they held us at gunpoint because a small group of us that were live streaming, I believe there's also a news crew from like France or some shit. We were with this group of like five teenage black kids that were scared shitless to be left alone. And they were like, they're going to fucking kill us if you leave us alone. They were on the megaphone saying that all press, please head to the press area and step away from the civilians. And none of us would do that.
Fuckers,
Yeah,
fuckers.
and we ended up going to this fucking uh, like parking lot because they had 100% decided that it was when they were. Did you ever hear about when they were doing the 2 second rule? If you stood still for 2 seconds, they would arrest you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the early days of Ferguson. If you weren't marching, if you stopped marching for 2 seconds or longer than 2 seconds, then you were arrested.
Oh
But
yeah, fucking stopwatches. I mean, what the fuck?
it was just total bullshit.
It's like the
But
cops at Rainbow pointing their fucking pepper spray guns at us, like they say 25 feet, 25 feet, and I'm like, get out a fucking tape measure, you motherfucker. Fuck you,
right,
25.
well
Random motherfucking.
they lined that parking lot. And they kept us there for I think it was around 4 or 5 hours that they just refused to leave, and the whole time they were doing the all media please head to the press area, and
So
none
you're
of us
just
left.
kettled.
And yeah, at any time they could have came in and just taken all of us. I think one of the only things that saved our asses was the fact that there was that crew from France, because they had like a big camera. Everybody else, like Ziegler, was streaming from his phone. This was like pure phone basically at this point because it was the end of the night. Yeah, there was no CNN cameras out there or anything. There was no intimidating cameras like, holy shit, who do they work for? We're gonna get in fucking
So,
trouble for this. Um, man, yeah, it was. But again, it started at a prayer. Like
mm-hmm.
they were praying to go home.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. I think that's
Yes, it's
something.
extremely disturbing when the government of your country has a regular practice exercises such a fucking abhorrent attitude and continuing pattern of excess and bad behavior.
Well, and
It ain't cool.
but there's also that pretty interesting little thing of, like people getting fucking tear gassed and tased and fucked with for hours straight, and then fucking they show the one guy that throws something back because like they've been sitting here tear gassing these guys for fucking 2 hours solid, 3 hours solid, shooting them with rubber bullets and shit. Then one guy fucking throws a Molotov cocktail even, and then that's what's shown on CNN and shit.
Right.
Protesters throwing
True.
Molotov cocktails. We don't talk
True.
about, a lot. It normally takes somebody being pushed to a point of breaking before they do cross that threshold of I'm going to throw a Molotov cocktail at a fucking police officer. Like, that's not something most people are setting out to do.
Oh, indeed, indeed. I would say that's an outlier. I would say an outlier. Yes.
It's it's fascinating. It's fascinating watching all of this evolve, I guess you could call it, into what it is now.
Could be end game. Could be the end game. I don't know, people. We shall see.
Well,
Keep the faith.
yeah, that's all we can do right now. So because I think we've done pretty good here. Oh man, and you know
Oh
what?
yeah. No, great.
I was told you were supposed to be on for an hour. I think we kind of fucked up that
Oh
hour
yeah.
plan.
Well, yeah. No, those are the instructions that I have. That's just I try not to run. During the election year, I was doing a lot of 2-hour podcasts, and I didn't mind talking because I was really most of them were libertarian. I was trying to make a sale to the delegates and went through all the million reasons why I was their best bet. Uh, but after that, I just wanted to have a little more time to myself and just told them, make them an hour. But for you, Miko, I don't mind
Oh,
chatting with you. I mean,
oh, Vermin.
if it was any other podcast, anybody else I'm talking to this week, yeah, hour and out. But we're just having such a good time here and stuff.
It is. It's been a pretty
It's all
good
good.
time. Well, I've always appreciated talking to you, but again, also, I don't know. I can see where you're coming from too. It's not just a. Ever since you broke it down of the boot becoming your soapbox, I mean, I've remembered that conversation. That stuck with me because it was smart. It was
Yeah,
a
no,
lot
it's
smarter
it's a
than.
it's a communication strategy. That once it just allowed me to get the message out to such a vast audience that is more. I'm more wildly successful than I had ever thought that I might ever be. But I've always considered myself successful and respected and loved, and I've always enjoyed doing what I'm doing, and just a skill set that I managed to cobble together over the years, and finding these funny, comedic, absurdist elements that struck such a chord that so many people dig it, and that just makes me want to do more, and they just give me some love, and so I want to do a little more for the people because they'll laugh and shit and think it's funny, and they're like, oh, now what you doing now, and what.
I mean, it's been a beautiful strategy, honestly, and not to mention, it's nice to have something, especially now, just something to lighten all this shit up. My God, it's so
Yep.
serious. It's so hateful. So fucking
Yes, it
hateful.
sure is. Yep,
But
that it is. Scary times.
it
Scary
is.
times.
It
Good
really
times though.
is.
Good times.
It is.
Nice
There are.
times.
There are still the good times with the scary
Best of
times.
times, worst of times, most mediocre times.
Well, that's one thing. Like, and I think actually I've seen Ron do a few of them. But yeah, a lot of people don't. They like to. Everybody likes the riot porn. I get it. Like that's the shit that people want to see is stuff burning and shit. But a lot of people miss some of the things that are going on, like food handouts, clothes handouts. Different shit that these groups are doing during the day before these extreme night clashes start happening. There are
Right.
good.
No, that's very true. They don't want to share the mutual aid portions of the day and
No,
all the love.
But
All right, I'm
it's
going to read just a few paragraphs from chapter 1 here
yep,
from the
you do
book.
it.
iPony. The worst of times were all but a fuzzy, wuzzy, gauzy, wazzy, far away memory. It was almost as if they had never existed. It was as if a bureaucrat had stuffed them into some office memory hole shredder in order to make confetti for some long forgotten hero's ticker tape parade. But these here times now, oh, these were the best time. All thumbs up, number one, A triple plus, all the best times of all the best times, all rolled into one and then some. The mediocre of times, well, they were so mediocre that they had made no memorable impression whatsoever. There was much happiness and merriment among the citizenry. A tsunami of contentment waterboarded over all the good faces of all the good peoples. It was indeed the bestest of all times. LOL, a Big Ten for that is for sure. Good buddies, nothing quite like it. Totally and truly the bestest of times. Seriously, it was bitching. There was no doubts about it. It was pretty much the most awesomest of times in all of history when you get right down to it. Absolutely darn tootin' straight shooting double plus good, baby. Let me let you in on a little secret, buckaroos. It was the best. I don't know why I gush, but I do. There was absolutely no downside worth mentioning. None that this writer can possibly think of. It was truly, most definitely, the undisputed best of all the times. Public opinion poll after public opinion poll agreed. Scientific survey after scientific survey confirmed it to be true. Common wisdom dictated. Anybody who said otherwise was just itching for a fight.
When did you?
Shall I continue?
When
Shall I
did?
continue?
When did? Yeah, no. Feel free to. When did you write that though?
Um, this was written a few years back. We had taken a little break and we started traveling the country. And let's see, we copyrighted 2019. I guess 2018 is when I wrote most of it.
It's not too far back. Yeah, no. Feel
Well,
free if you want. If you want.
do what you said. The air was clean. Alfalfa grew everywhere. The chirping of songbirds filled the air. The sweet scent of pony pee tickled one's nostrils. Pony dust and dander danced in the sunbeams. Fluttering butterflies frolicked with unicorns under rainbow skies. By unicorns, of course, it was meant ponies that had had a horn surgically implanted into their forehead. Lab unicorns were still a long way away. The only known prototypes of lab unicorns had turned out to be frightening mutants. The beautiful rainbows that crisscrossed the skies were just the latest and most colorful blend of incredible chemtrail technology. Geoengineering had never been so wonderfully prismatic. Just gorgeous. The butterflies were not real butterflies, of course, butterflies having reached extinction long ago. No one alive today had ever seen a real one. These butterflies were little mini recon spy drones. They sure were pretty. They mimicked the living butterfly's movement of flight very well. The sound of songbirds was synthesized from speakers mounted in the artificial trees. Needless to say, there were no songbirds. Just the cheerful setup from chapter 1 on iPony.
Which and that
Good time.
is that's in the descriptions. We went over that, didn't we? That's on iPony.com, is it?
Yes, iPonythebook.com
iPonythebook.com.
or iPonybook.com, either of those.
iPonybook. It's one of it's in the description. There's a whole bunch of links for you to keep up with Vermin
Oh
in the
yeah,
description.
oh yeah. There's Facebook, there's TikTok, I've got 14 million hits on the hashtags Vermin Supreme on TikTok recently.
No shit.
That that's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's
a few.
pretty fucking
So,
good.
you know,
That's pretty fucking good.
yeah, like, especially since I don't make much content for them at all these days. So, um, I owe them one every time. Every time I point something out, I got 1,400 mils. I owe them one. Yes. So, yeah.
What? How long have
Gonna be
you?
on Twitch soon.
How long you been fucking around with the TikTok?
The TikTok, some point during the election year, we became aware that we had gone viral on TikTok. Somebody discovered some of my videos and started slicing and dicing them up there.
Throwing out the
And
clips.
yeah, and I was, our YouTube channel is Vermin Supreme now, and I was able to get the real Vermin Supreme on TikTok because somebody else had taken my name, obviously. So I'm at the
Nice.
real Vermin Supreme on TikTok, and from what I can understand, the kids all think it's very cool,
But so
very
there's
cool.
also a Vermin Supreme TikTok then that is not you.
I guess there is. I guess there must be, right?
I
I
would
haven't watched
imagine
that one,
so.
but yeah.
But if you had it, or it's oh okay. So wait, were you weren't forced into the real Vermin Supreme? That
No,
is that
yeah,
just
yeah, no, that was the only thing available.
oh, okay. So
You
yeah,
know,
there is.
a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people use my name. The people who are using the Reddit Vermin Supreme, they're sort of squatting on it. They won't let us moderate it and stuff like that.
Really?
Unfortunate. But on the other hand, I finally got verminsupreme.com back. I had lost verminsupreme.com. I missed the re-up on it because I didn't have a computer at the time and it slipped through my fingers or whatever. And so it ended up getting parked and then it got picked up by these porno bots. And so during the whole
Oh shit.
2016 election campaign cycle, it looked just like my site. It was the old site, but this code had inserted all these links into it, like horny humping teen moms and gifs, and it's like what? And so it was very embarrassing because at the time I was trying to get gigs at college gigs and a lot of the high school people were discovering me and they're like, "Mom, Dad, teacher, can we talk about Vermin Supreme?" And they would go check out the website, and all of a sudden there's all these sketchy porn links, and so that did not do me any favors. But we find after the inauguration, interestingly, the traffic dropped to zero, so they didn't renew it. Ha ha! So
Ah,
we
so
got it
you
back.
just okay. Okay, so they weren't even putting out content or anything. They just used your name
Oh
and
no, no, they used the content that was there, and then they just inserted fucking porno links throughout it.
man, that fucking
I mean, and it would have been funny in previous years. It would have been funny because it just wouldn't have mattered. But at that particular year, it would start to matter a little bit. It was oh shit.
did you even you couldn't even find who owned it, I imagined right at that like at an
uh,
important time.
no,
Just
it
a
was several
faceless
layers away,
yeah,
and
faceless
yeah,
fucking yeah.
reached out to him, and there was no response. And
But Reddit won't give you
yeah,
Reddit
whoever's
won't
moderating that, no,
they
I haven't even
won't
tried to get my name on some other things, but I mean, Reddit might. I haven't tried to pull, give him my, information. All I can only imagine how many people report me a day on Facebook. Fake name, fake name, fake name.
but just to
But
clear
no,
that up, that is not a fake name.
oh, not
That's
at all. And in fact, I got flagged when I tried to join Facebook, and had to provide my government issued identification in order to get the account
which that
recognized.
government
So yeah,
identification says Vermin
yeah.
Supreme.
Passport, driver's license. Yeah, no, it's legit. It got to a point where Uh, the my previous name was it became vestigial. Nobody ever used it. My mother knew me by Vermin Supreme. My wife for 30 years has known me by nothing but Vermin Supreme, and all my friends knew me as Vermin Supreme. So there's yeah, for consistency's sake, and in order to get on ballots, and in order to
Oh
be
shit, huh?
listed as a plaintiff on lawsuits against police because I've sued the LAPD and I've sued the NYPD as Vermin Supreme in the past, and to have it on the identification that I would present to a police eventually if it gets to that point. After we do our little dance, after they convince me that they will arrest me if I don't present them with that, then I will make an informed decision on which route I want to go at that point. But then, what's your name? Vermin Supreme. Oh, really? Got some ID? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. What if I do? What if I do? Oh yes, I do. And well, do I have to show it to you? And then when the payoff is that I show it to them, or boom, fuck you. Um, for consistency's sake.
That is, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I really didn't even think about the fact of
Yeah.
running. Like, yeah, if you want to run as Vermin
Yeah,
Supreme, you gotta fucking be
yeah,
named Vermin
yeah.
Supreme. That
Oh,
makes
for
a lot of
sure.
fucking
And just for
sense.
consistency in my personal life, went to probate court and said, that's it's my name. It's the only name I use, and boom, no problems. Been on my driver's license for a number of years before that. Got dead named this year by some fucking asshole.
Oh
People
yeah.
thought that was, during the campaign, libertarian factions who were, playing games and shit. But so it goes.
How was that? Is that a fucking pain in the ass to clear up?
Um, no, no, that was nothing because it got no traction. They were just
Okay.
trying to drop my previous name out there. It's like, people don't want to know it. People don't care. It's irrelevant.
So it's
It's
like,
defunct. It's defunct. It's no big whoop. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you wanted to find out, you could find it out. But it's no big deal.
it's out there amongst the webs. But I mean, fuck, is it? There's
Yeah,
basically nothing that isn't out there. If you know where to look, you're
yeah.
gonna find it.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to what I do.
It is. I'll fully agree. Yes, because you really
All right.
have you are Vermin Supreme.
I am Vermin Supreme. Fucking a, right. Middle name
Fucking
is
a
Love on
right.
all my identification. My original name was Vermin fucking Supreme, but then when I went before the probate court, I softened it to Love. So there's that.
Would they fucking would they even they would they wouldn't let you do that? Would they?
Oh, hold on,
Or
hold on. I was
or
swatting a mosquito on my dick. Sorry about
the war continues. Uh,
that.
fucking the like if you put fucking they wouldn't they can they even allow
um,
that?
I don't
I'm almost
know. I
curious
don't
now if
know.
that is a thing.
Yeah,
If you can
it
change
would
your
have been a
name to
thing.
profanity.
I maybe I should probably try and change my name again, just for fun. I would like to make my middle name fucking now. Thank you.
Fucking Vermin Supreme. There you go. Your first name could be fucking, and then have the middle name,
All
last name, Vermin Supreme.
right.
Well,
All
Vermin,
right. All right. Well, yeah. I hear you. Time to go. It's getting late.
I don't
Um,
even know that
hey,
it's time to go. I don't, but
well, I
I
think
mean,
it
yeah,
is.
it's been a
Yeah.
while. I'm definitely not kicking you. I'm not kicking you off or anything.
Oh no,
It's,
I know.
I mean, fuck, you're allowed. You can come and be on my
I'm
streams
a
whenever
very
you want
busy man.
forever.
I'm a very busy man. And stuff.
It's normally, no, I mean, well, and actually, it still sounds like you're busy. I still think you should start up a
No,
podcast.
it's pretty funny. Yeah, there is. Oh, I forgot about that. There is a podcast. It's called "Let This Podcast Run Your Life." I think I put it on the link thing. It's a spin off of the Team Supreme campaign group, much like the Vermin Supreme Institute, and it's just another communication avenue. And occasionally they call me up and I drop in, um,
So it's like
just for fun. But,
other people
yeah,
running the stream. I got
it
you.
is. It is indeed. It's people who worked on the campaign, and just do a little radio thing with radio segments and stuff. And every few episodes, I pop in and talk about things. And I guess that's the hook. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, that's still cool though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
cool that you're using some of this shit that you've built to help encourage others to kind of go down that same, well, not even the same path. You're opening doors for people to use a voice. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's legit. And hell, I'm a geezer enough that it makes certain. I'm the elder statesman of Wingnuts. I believe that's a fairly accurate statement.
You know, like my original site, the Daily Haze, when I was doing that site was pulling like 1.3 to 3.5 million readers a month and shit. This current one, it's still new, and I can pull a couple 100,000 readers a month if I really sit down and focus. And
Mm-hmm.
like people tell me like I should cover this, I should talk about this, I should do this, and I'm just like, why don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very doable. Everybody should use these voices that we've been given. I mean, just do it. So I don't know.
Sure. Right on. Right
It's
on.
cool to see.
Exercise.
It's cool to see with everything you've done that you're still thinking about opening the doors for others and shit like
Yeah,
that.
no,
That's pretty
use your
cool.
rights. Exercise our ability to do what we have the ability to do. Wear a damn boot on your head if you want to. This is America,
Right?
damn it.
It
Freaking
works.
shit.
It fucking works. You are living proof that you can wear a fucking boot on your head and your life will still go just fine. It won't be the end of the world.
Oh yeah, conformity is the enemy. And
So we got everything again. There's a huge fucking list of places you can click on to keep up with vermin.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
oh yeah, for sure. And just what I like to do sometimes just Google image search, just because that's very informative. It's pretty funny.
well, and hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, we get all this COVID shit and everything under control, and we see
Yeah,
vermin
I
back
sure
out in
do
the
hope so.
streets.
I sure do hope so. Like I say, I believe that I personally will probably take the risk with the vaccine, just because it's especially make the decision based on what negative reactions happen in the human clinical trials and all. But
Well, but also, I
I
mean,
think then
I don't even know if we were live yet when you were saying that, but I mean, you did mention your age, and it's smart that you actually talk about that. I mean, you are at a higher risk age group. It'd be stupid if
I
you
mean I'm
pretended like,
healthy, but I'm a little
well, I mean,
more other than that, I'm pretty healthy. But
but it'd be
I'm
stupid
a
if you
little
completely ignored the fact. I mean, it is what it is. So I mean, I think it's personally, I think it's. I get everybody saying there's only a 3.3% death rate, whatever the fuck they want to say, but I personally appreciate taking it serious and be like, what if I'm part of that 0.3%? Like, fuck all of you. I'm not putting myself at risk right now. So no,
yeah. We
I
make
can
our own
appreciate it.
decisions. Make your own
So
decisions. We'll see how it goes. I mean, a lot of people are making very difficult decisions right now
that's
to
true.
go back to school, to go back to work, to continue what they're doing. Obviously, there's the huge unemployment and economic crisis that's going on all at the same time, along with
Well, and
all these other factors that are coming our way pretty fast and furious. Ultimately,
that's actually with the American frontline doctors, the demon sperm lady and shit. That is one thing, part of the truce that they were talking about. Like the economic issues, the domestic violence issues, the suicide, the depression. These are all real things that are really making a big uh, presence during this lockdown, and don't look like they're going anywhere during this lockdown. So
yeah, I haven't seen any suicide statistics.
they've been going up. There's some pretty shitty
Yeah.
ones out there. Domestic violence. So,
They were getting higher all the time. Anywho,
but yeah, and see that's another problem. Like we
huge
definitely weren't
crisis.
on a we weren't going
Uh,
down on any of those
yeah,
issues.
very concerning. Very concerning.
It really is. So hopefully though, hopefully we get this shit under control sooner than later, and we'll see you at, hopefully we'll see you at the inauguration. I mean, fuck, 2016
Yes,
was my
yeah.
first
I
inauguration. I plan on
think
being at the
society has
next
an
one.
opportunity to transform somewhat, and let's see what the transformation might bring. Um,
Well, I plan
in
on being
fact,
there if
yeah,
it happens. So hopefully we'll both be there, and I can jam
yeah,
my phone in your
potentially,
face, and I could jam my
potentially, I will be
phone in your
the
face and make you say words again, and
with
hopefully
a little
that'll
bit of luck,
happen.
I'll be president of America. We'll see how it goes.
Well, you're my president. You're a lot of
We'll see
people's
if we can.
president.
There was a slight tear in the time-space continuum, and I still believe that we're going to return to a supreme presidency sooner rather than later. It's all here in the book.
Which again, that book is in the link as well, or in the description as well. So
Yes, it is. I Pony Blueprint for New America, and yeah. Well, thank you all very much. Thanks for watching. Glad you did. Hope you enjoy content on your computer. Thank you, Miko, for having me.
no, pleasure's
Thank
all
you
mine.
for um, thank you for
Especially,
being a part of this exciting new initiative, the Vermin Supreme Institute. It's been great hearing about your project here, and pleasure to be a part of it. See
it
how we
is.
now we just yeah that worked.
Yeah, right there. That's a good soundbite, right? We got that. We got that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I made you part of my thing. That was pretty fun.
No, I do. You 100% can. I would never, I would never argue that. But no, I really do appreciate it, especially with this being new and everything. You're like one of my first people. So
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And glad to do it. And good luck. Good
yeah.
luck. And let me know when you got it up. You gonna slice and dice later on, or how's your
I
format?
mean, right now it's going out right now live to everywhere. I'll leave it up
Oh,
live
okay. Okay.
and then we can play with
You on Twitch too?
whatever.
Did you send it out to different
Not yet,
different
not
things?
yet. Right now I'm doing Facebook, Periscope, which Periscope Twitter, I gotta admit, I'm fucking useless on Twitter. I gotta get better with it. And then YouTube. But
Oh,
Twitch is actually the fourth one that I've been really thinking about adding. I see a lot of people suggesting Twitch.
yeah, and it's really good for a longer term, longer format thing too. I think. Unlike TikTok, which is great for a 15-second format.
Right. Right. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, probably Twitch in the future, but yeah, right now we're doing Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube.
Cool.
But yeah, and
Cool.
so I mean, this is out there, and you guys feel free to
You
take it and
you
do
mean we were
whatever you want.
alive this whole time? You mean we were? Wait a minute. You mean that
Wait,
stuff I
hold
said?
the fuck
Wait
on.
a minute. Whoa! I was gonna get. Whoa! I no. Some of that stuff was just between you and me.
This is
I was just talking to Nico. I didn't know we were live.
this is not what
Dude.
this was.
Oh no.
No,
Oh my goodness.
it was.
Face bomb.
Oh,
Face bomb.
oh.
Face bomb. Face bomb. Face bomb. Face bomb. I should make that into a TikTok or something, or a GIF, huh? That'd be a good one.
Oh no, it's fine. Silly me. I totally forgot to even press live. We've actually just been talking, me and you, this whole time.
Oh, good. Oh, good. That's happened to a few interviews I've done where it's like, oh, the tape didn't work. Can we do it again?
Man,
It happens.
I've had that happen on like actually sitting down with video, and I gotta tell you, from a videographer perspective, we are so sorry, and we feel so fucking stupid when that happens. That is like one of the worst feelings you can ever have, is realizing that you didn't just record that. Like, it's just terrible. It's a horrible feeling. So I feel for your camera guys that have done that before. It sucks. Terrible feeling.
Yeah.
Vermin, you be good. You take care of yourself, and
Well,
like I
thank you.
said, hopefully we get to see you back out on the streets soon.
Oh, yeah. With a little bit of luck. With a little bit of luck, we shall see. All right,
And
bro. Well,
and common
thanks a lot.
sense. A little bit of luck mixed with some common
Oh yeah.
sense
Oh yeah.
might help. Just
Oh
just a
yeah. No,
dash at least.
there's been a few times, but gotta convince the wife and all that, and stuff,
Stuff and things.
stuff,
Stuff.
stuff, reality and shit and stuff.
Dude stuff.
All right, how do I
Well,
turn
yeah.
this thing off? Let's see.
I think as soon as I click on this, I think I'm gonna hang up on you. So
No, no, I can hang up on you. No, you hang up first.
no, you hang up.
No, you hang up first. No, I gotta stay
No,
on for a little while. You hang up first.
no, you
No, my
you
finger's
hang
right
up.
on the
You
red
hang
red
up
phone
first.
icon. No,
I'm
no,
right here on
Miko,
the I'm right here on the stop streaming yes button.
you hang up first. No, you hang up first. I don't want to hang up. I don't want to hang up
Oh.
on you. You
All
hang up
right,
on
all
me.
right. I will hang up on you because I love you, Vermin. And again, thank you, man. People go follow Vermin. Keep up with Vermin,
All right.
and
All
we'll
right.
see you
Thanks a
again.
lot. It was fun.
Yep.
Have a good
Thank you,
night.
sir.
Take